Their intention was to subvert the SNP. This is sensible, isn't it? Their intention was to subvert the SNP.
I'm Oliver.
This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job.
Oliver. What? This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job. I'm actually not laughing. He's had to mute himself because he can't stop laughing in between. I'm actually not laughing.
This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job.
Oliver. What?
It resonates greatly within me.
This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job. I'm actually not laughing. He's had to mute himself because he can't stop laughing in between. I'm actually not laughing. It resonates greatly within me.
Oliver. What? This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job. I'm actually not laughing.
Oliver. What?
It resonates greatly within me. He's doing a pretty good job.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please tell us what the fuck happened there. Hold on. What the fuck? Right, get that out. Strange. Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are a thing. I seem to have put up the wrong intro video, but it worked until I started talking again. This is mad. Anyway, got a wee audio check in the chat. I'm saying good. Generally speaking, I go through the names, but I'm leaving that out just at the moment because I don't want to be disrespectful and want to introduce my guests. Resisti Lele, what about you, chum?
Well, like, how do?
Doing good. Hold on, I'm just getting back through the comments here. I'm going to do, instead of saying hello to people, I'm going to start putting up chats on the screen, so I've acknowledged that. But how's all yourself?
I'm not bad. As I said before we came live, I might very well have hit a whitey. But, it's one of those things. Happens from time to time. Part and parcel of being Scottish, I guess.
Yeah.
That, all right. Living the dream. Just working away, living quiet. So, nothing really to report out of the ordinary, apart from, if you want to call it the question, my whitey, but we said about that the bell.
General levels of madness in Scotland?
Usually, microaggressions and permanent oppression. So it's a hard knock life, eh?
It is. Sanson, what about you, chum?
Hello, lads. Hello, everybody in the chat. You probably just
all right, Saxon like
fed up of listening to me. I'm surprised you're not asleep, mate. You past your bedtime now, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know why you keep popping jokes about this shit, like, because at the end of the day, it could end up being something serious. I don't know what the fuck's going on. No, it's not that I get tired when I finish work. Every time I have something to eat, I conk out. I got black out. It's not even like it's not normal for somebody at my age. It's not normal.
DJ, what age are you?
27.
27. Yeah. See, once you hit like 25, 26, you get to like your naps.
It's not a nap though. It's not like I'm getting tired and then I have to sit down for fucking half an hour. I'm literally 1 minute watching YouTube and then the next minute it's 5 a.m. I black out. It's like keel over. It's like narcolepsy almost.
Yeah, I think
you not normal. Fuck.
Yep. I think you might want to consult a medical professional about that, mate.
Yeah, that's what my missus keeps telling me as well. But then I've got fucking sense in every stream I go on. Oh, we better keep him awake. Past his bedtime, like, you know what I mean? Would you be laughing at me if I had fucking AIDS, like?
Yeah. Look, what you get up to in your bedroom's up to you, mate. But yeah, I would. Yeah.
Well, I know what I get up to in here.
Same, man. No.
A lot of Scottish Parliament material gets absorbed.
I'm surprised you can afford the Kleenex.
I just leave it on the walls.
Yep, even Snoopy agrees, mate. Need to see a doctor, mate.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I did actually promise my missus that I would go at the start of February, and we're almost in March.
Emma G saying that she only started taking a snooze whenever she met me. So snoozing could be contagious.
I don't know if that's a fucking insult or a compliment.
No, well, Emma G's trying to blame her snoozing on me. she caught the snoozing bug from me. Oh, right. Well, I suppose we could have a go at getting this show on the road. What the hell's going on here? That should be that. Why is this? My link's not working. Great. Oh, sorry for the levels of professionalism. Could you two talk about something for a minute?
Benson, what's your opinion on crack cocaine?
Bad.
I've got no reference point because outside of those nice legal taxable drugs like alcohol and tobacco, I've never had anything in my life ever. I'm not saying that to be morally superior. It's just that I've just never have. I don't think I would react very well to them because I don't react very well, especially to opioids. Because there's only one time or twice where when it broke me back and they give me this thing, I fucking had hallucinations and all sorts. Wasn't right for me. That I didn't like that at all. So I literally am a fat bastard who, who doesn't eat particularly well, drinks like a fish, and doesn't do a particular lot of exercise. But I can honestly say I'm not on any fucking tablets. That's for sure. Not even a paracetamol. But no, I would have no reference. I think I would be. I don't know. Just because the one and only time where I was given them when I broke my back years ago, 98, it would be. I was hallucinating. I had the most fucking fundamentally weird dreams, like or whatever I was thinking about. And it was literally like I thought crocodiles were coming in to eat me and snakes and shit like that. And I thought, if that's what drugs do to you, I just want no fucking part. If every single fucking thing that you hate and are frightened of is going to come after you if you're on drugs, I'm just not fucking bothered about that shit.
Are you sure it wasn't an acid tab they gave you?
No, it was. I don't even think it was a particularly I don't know what it was they gave me, but it wasn't. I don't even think it was a particularly strong one. It was just really weak. But it's because, like I say, I don't take painkillers as a rule at all. And I've got a gammy knee and everything, but I'm just not on anything. And give me these things, and it was like I had the most. I tell you right. I was in this flat. And this is the God's honest truth. I'm not telling a word of a lie, right? I dreamt I was in this flat, and I was in the bedroom, and I heard this noise. Couldn't make out what the noise was, so I got to got stood down to go as if I was going for a slash or something. Put the light on, and there's a fucking fer-de-lance, which is this fucking bright yellow-looking poisonous viper snake in the bedroom. And so I run out of the bedroom and shut the door. And then realised, shit, my phone's in there or whatever. So I then go into this person's banging on these doors, and I'm banging on this door, and this door opens. And I'm going shouting like, "Can I use your phone? I need you to use your phone. There's a fucking snake in there." And this crocodile comes out. Oh, for fuck's sake. So I could run blasting out of there, run upstairs to the top flat upstairs, Go in there, right? No sign of anybody, and I go into open this bedroom door, and they've got it turned into this fucking aquarium, and it's a big great white shark in there. That's literally what drugs does to me. And I thought, I've never been anywhere near that on booze and fags, so I'm just going to stick to booze and fags because
I don't know what the fuck you were given. Like,
I don't know. I would never. It was an opioid. It was an opioid.
If you ever,
I would never go near hallucinogenics just because I'm not that way inclined. But I will say quickly, one, I'm not going to go into the full extent of the chaos that ensued for the entirety of that weekend when I was about 20, but I took something dodgy. I don't know what the fuck it actually was, in all honesty, but it resulted in me pacing my house all weekend from Friday night till actually Monday morning, where I had to go to the hospital and get sleeping pills to sleep. I paced my house for 3 days solid, convinced there was people in the walls, there was people boarding at my windows. I phoned the police twice, convinced that they were pulling the roof off my shed. I answered the door in my boxers holding a knife. They told me if I phoned again, I was going to be taken to the police station to be put in the cells for wasting police time. I actually begged them to take me because I was convinced that these people were coming for me. I mean, that's just the summarized short version of events. This was it was hell. And the horrible thing about scenarios like that is you cannot tell yourself that you're just imagining it. When you're in that situation, that's it. Your mind just completely fixates on it. So, no, I wouldn't recommend taking shit. Stick to smelling daffodils and hopscotch.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Now, on a completely different note,
all I'll say is this, right? All these fuckers in the chat here saying, "Oh, it doesn't sound this." I tell you what, it was in a fucking hospital. So what are you going to say? You're going to say, "I'll tell you what, we've got this new treatment. Drop a bit of fucking acid." Doesn't fucking happen. It might happen these days, especially when they want to push all kinds of fucking treatments and injectables on you. But they gave me some shit because I broke my back and I was in a little fucking smidge of pain, shall we say. And it was a fucking opioid, and that's how I reacted to it. So, fuck off.
Oh, there's a guy in the chat there, though, that can get you some banging Viagra if you're after, like. Clive Chance, the man of the hour.
Oh, yes, Clive's in, Toffee's in.
Honestly, for anybody that has not watched that stream, with no chance not Sven Longshanks guy with that off-grid Ireland, I actually lost count how many times they referred to him as Clive. I think he genuinely thinks he's called Clive. Like every 2 minutes of Clive, can I get your opinion, Clive? Sorry, can I just interject, Clive? Like, he's not called fucking Clive. And then he was on Ragnar's stream on the Sunday, and then he referenced the stream from midweek. He's like, "Oh yeah, Clive Transform at the week." Like, fucking unreal.
Well,
Clive.
Well, we've got a police warning over man and Cookie Monster costume terrorizing area. Get on this story. There's a picture of the dude himself. Me and DJ were talking before the stream. It's strange who they'll tell children to stay away from because Cookie Monster bad. Man in a dress. Talking about sexy stuff, get him in the library, but here we go. What the? Where am I getting advertisements? No thanks and close. Thank you. Right. Police have warned locals to avoid a man dressed as a Cookie Monster who is creeping out visitors at a seaside spot. As reported in the Mirror, the man has been bothering visitors to Santa Cruz Wharf, aggressively yelling and hassling people for money. One visitor said, "It's a creepy monster, not the Cookie Monster." While a business owner in Los Angeles says, "I don't think he belongs out in the streets. No one wants to hear the Cookie Monster say he's going to kill her." Oh, that does not sound good. The man behind the Cookie Monster mask has been revealed as Adam Sandler. No relation to Hollywood actor. The 59-year-old has a history of causing trouble in costumes, say police. Santa Cruz Police Department's Joyce Baskey says, "We are getting calls from people who say he is creepy. Based on his history, we advise the public not to engage with the individual and steer clear of him." Police have said the man faced criminal charges in other parts of the country, but didn't provide other details. Although they have had several calls about the Cookie Monster, the man hasn't committed any crime, so can't be arrested. That's California, so it's a Democratic-run utopia. Thoughts, people?
Well, it's funny we were on about crack cocaine earlier on, because I will say crack clearly a hell of a drug, eh? I don't understand why it's like what they meant, but they didn't really allude or go into detail as to what trouble he's been up to in the past with his costumes. Like,
yeah, I'm going to guess it revolves around asking people for money. then getting a little bit aggressive if they say no.
Now that would be eventful to see.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a bit of a bizarre story, in all honesty. I mean, if he's not committed any crimes, then I don't even understand why it's been sort of presented in the media as if it's something to be concerned about or whatever the fuck. Slow news day, as I said.
Yeah. Samson, make head nor tail this.
The only thing I can think of is it reminds me of that sketch that the cartoon Family Guy did with Cookie Monster, and he's in some kind of maximum security prison or like asylum for his addiction to cookies, and they end up bounding him over and treating him like a drug addict. And he's saying he's trying to eat these cookies. You've got a real problem, man. But I mean, who's in this costume? This what's he called? What was his name? Ben Affleck or something.
It was. I probably could get that again. Get it back up again.
There's some weird bloody famous name on it.
Yeah, it was Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler, that's it, yeah. Bloody hellfire. I mean, yeah, well, when they say terrorising, what do they mean? Like, say, what was he doing? But,
it's funny as well, can I just say, him wandering about a beach in a blue costume is obviously more entertaining than any of the actual Adam Sandler's movies as of late. So, mic drop.
I just don't know. I just, well, that's, but I mean, there's always I think people are going nuts because there was another one this week where there was just this bloke. I don't know if it was like in London or somewhere down south, just stark bollock naked, just walking down the street like as if nothing was the matter.
Oh well, here, California, the place where they're saying he's a problem. They have legalized shitting in the street.
Street shitters.
Yeah, they had a load of homeless people that were shitting in the street, and rather than do something about it, because that was somehow racist or something, they decided to legalize shitting in the street. And they have an interactive map that tells you how many shits are in which street.
Oh, I'll tell you what, when they legalise that, I mean, the reason why they've legalised it is because the police will probably be forever pulling over vagrants because California's become like this vagrant hellhole. It's like, we're improving the city by doing this. Newsom, he's a twat, isn't he? That Gavin Newsom. Worst, and they're tipping him to be one of the main front runners for the Democrat nomination. Well, he ticks all the boxes. A, he's useless. B, he's destroyed the state that he's supposed to be governor of. And C, he's like a bought and paid for fucking shill for the state. So, yeah, I can see why they're saying he's going to be a top-ranking contender. But, it's just, when you look at... because I actually worked in California, funnily enough, in 1998, the same year as I had my foible with me back. And San Diego was fantastic. It was like for me, it was one of the best cities I'd ever been in. I was, when I was still young, free and I was looking at it, saying, I'll tell you what, this is the kind of town for me. I'm bloody glad I didn't bother, because it's a fucking war zone now. It's horrendous. Because I still keep in touch with the odd person that I knew from there when I was working with them and that, and they're fucking off to places like Montana and bloody Wyoming, and to get away. But put it this way, and they were like the most libtard fucking bastards you'd ever meet, all multiculti Fresh Prince bastards, yeah. And they're literally moving to the places which have got the least multiculturalism as possible. It's like they're packing up, selling up, and fucking off to Montana and Wyoming.
They did an experiment in a liberal area. I can't remember exactly where it was. It was in America. And what they did was they paid some black people and some Latino people to turn up at bus stops and tube stops. Right.
Can I just stop you very quickly? Sorry for disrupting your thought. But Ugly Truth dropped a cracker in the chat. That deserves bringing up if you could do that.
Who was it? Ugly
Truth. He's got one in there. A road shatless for San Francisco. That's classic. I'm sorry, mate. Carry on.
That's exactly what it is. They went to a liberal area and they did a survey and they asked the people what they thought about multiculturalism and diversity, and everybody thought it was fucking brilliant. And then they waited a week and they paid some black people and some Latino people to go and get on buses at like between 8 and 9 in the morning and be in the subway between 8 and 9 in the morning in this area, and then arrive back at between like 5 and 6, and like they were and then they bust them off wherever the fuck they came from. But so it was like they had lived there and they were going to work and coming back and whatnot. And 8 weeks later, they did the same survey and they got 100% different answers, because it was the first time these people had been confronted with their policies, and they decided it wasn't such a good thing. It's hold on.
It gets to something though, doesn't it? We have to. It's like I mean, I don't know if you got it as one of the stories, because I don't want to gazump anything that you may have coming up.
Yeah,
but our treacherous administration have basically said, we've got this 100,000 illegals problem. Tell you what, let's give them amnesty. Problem solved. It's like, it's just like, these coppers having to arrest these people taking the shit, and say, well, let's make it legal. Problem solved. It's like, no, you're not solving the problem, you useless fucker.
Have our government come up with that? Because I know that the Americans were trying to pull something very similar to that.
Yeah, well, this was always Boris's plan. Boris wanted to give, all these people who haven't yet declared them, so even if they're here legally, but
like have an amnesty.
Yeah, Boris was going to do that anyway. So they're just literally pushing through what Boris was going to do anyway. I mean, that. Do you know what happened is? I reckon Sunak, he's going to fulfill his usefulness, which will be to legalize all these criminals that we know nothing about, right? And then he'll probably, there'll probably be a vote of this big show of a vote of confidence. Bojo the clown will get in. He'll make Surgical Truss Home Secretary. He'll make Dishy Rishi, probably Health Minister. He'll keep Jeremy Cunt, as Chancellor of the Exchequer. And then he'll be coming out like saying, yeah, well, yes, well, you see, these problems were done before I was in it, but now I'm here now, I can turn this all around. Because what they want to do is get rid of the fucking problem before Bojo waltzes back in to at least try and put some kind of challenge towards Labour. Because as it stands now, the only person Conservative is Boris Johnson, who stands even any chance whatsoever against Dame Keir Starmer. And the powers that be know this, even though the bigger powers that be don't give a shit who's in power. The Tories still want to try and retain this, this faux power that they currently wield over the general populace.
Well,
Sunak's not going to do it. The new Liz Truss would never ever going to do that. But Bojo the clown, with a front bench made up of those fucking traitors, would stand, potentially could stand a chance. If, once again, they lie to the British public and say, oh, yes, we're going to do all this and we're going to do that, and then do fuck all, like what they've always done. Yeah?
well,
That's my biggest concern, because I want the British public to say, no, fuck you, Tory parties. Even if I voted Tory all my life, I'm going to vote Labour because you're a hateful fucking organisation that needs to be utterly destroyed so that a true opposition, one that does have the interests of the British people, will rise in its stead and fucking do what the British people want instead of what these globalist wank stains, NGOs and all them lot, and the WEF and all that lot. I've been calling it Westminster now, not Westminster, Westminster, because all we're getting is shit coming from those bastards, and it needs to stop. Utter treacherous bastards. And the only way they'll be able to try and salvage themselves is Bojo the Clown, amazingly enough. Amazingly enough.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens next week whenever they bring out whatever the deal is going to be over the protocol, and see whether or not it works, because that could get quite dicey. Because have you had much of this in the news over on the mainland? Because on Monday they seem to be getting ready to announce a deal with the European Union about the Northern Ireland Protocol and how they're going to deal with Northern Ireland. And depending on that, things over here are going to be taking a turn one way or the other. Because I can't see any way that they can keep both sides of the community here happy. So I'm curious.
Yeah, speaking of Ireland, by the way, Clive sent me something. I posted it in the chat. Kind of seen similar images in Scotland and whatnot, but even Ireland's getting a taste of it now.
Hold on. Private chat. Sorry, where are you posting that?
The
group chat?
Just read my...
Right, okay. Is that thing at the bottom from No Chance?
Aye.
Right, I'm just getting that up. Right, just give us 1 second. Jam, that's from posted by Jammer Doherty. She is quite good.
Aye.
Right.
I haven't seen her in a while, though. I'm assuming she's been punted off YouTube.
She has definitely been silenced. Right. Present this. To be fair, Rags had somebody on from down south last Saturday.
Aye.
Right. And to be brutally honest, I was less than impressed with him. Right, I'm going to make that a little bit larger. Right, let's see. Can I make this? All right, that might help. Nope. the changing face of County Longford, rural Ireland. Holy fuck. Yes. That's
progression for you.
Yeah, that's a good school picture.
You know, it's just, you could literally write in that caption that it's England or Wales or Scotland, because at the end of the day, like, similar images have come out of all these different places. So it's no longer one of those things that's like just sort of designated to certain specific areas across the UK. It's becoming more and more and more of a normality. And what's irritating about it is you have to be very careful on how you approach images such as this, because if you don't praise what you see, you're racist. And if you dare to call into question the demography or point out the demography, you're racist. You know, but if you acknowledge the changing demography, but you have a positive tone in your voice, you're seen as progressive and virtuous. It's remarkable how it works. It's kind of like the shit show in Scotland a few months ago, when the wee critical race theorists came out to pretend that they were being abused online by me and other people when we weren't really. But then a month later or so, not even a month later, an image emerged of Sturgeon at a school to talk about climate change, of all fucking things, to a bunch of primary school kids. But there was like one white child in the photo. The rest were all black and brown. So people in the comments were like pointing out the demography or calling into question demography. Some were like posting those memes like, if only you knew how bad it really is, etc., etc. But they chose to take people in the comment section pointing out the demography as they took it and ran with a narrative riddled with hyperbole that it was abuse and racism, etc., etc. But in their attempts to shut down the people pointing out the questionable demography, they in turn bragged about representing quote unquote diverse parts of Scotland. So, aka, people on Twitter posted underneath a photo of a bunch of BAMEs and a one white kid that it's very diverse, very questionable demographics. People then, like Sturgeon, came out to shut down these evil racists by going, how dare you point out the demography of this photo? I happen to represent the most diverse part of Scotland. Well, then you're proving the point of the people commenting underneath the photo, or you're not. It just, as I said, really just depends on how you approach it, positively or negatively. It could be a jail sentence under Hamza Yusuf's hate crime, but wait.
Yeah. I want to address this comment from Rags about the guy had on Off Grid Ireland. We need your help, but we still want United Ireland. He didn't go that far, Rags. What he said, he said, why would the people up north want anything to do with Westminster in the same way we want anything to do with Langford Lodge? If you get me his contact details, I'd love to have him on for a talk about that. He would not have got away with that shit with me. He would not have got away with it, because I would have definitely asked him, what are we going to call the country? Not a fucking chance he got away with it, me chum. Anyway, rant over. But yes,
all I would say is that this picture here, you know, completely disproves that conspiracy theory of demographic replacement, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it does. It's definitely not going to happen. You know, it's not part of the deal. It's not what they're trying to do. Definitely not.
It's not fucking normal. But yeah,
no.
I want you to think it is. It's a total insult to intelligence.
And
yeah.
talking of
children in the photos, obviously know their fucking fault, but the reality of the matter is they won't be children forever.
Talking of things that are not fucking normal, we have this madness. Hold on, I'll make this a bit bigger as well.
I wish they would just cut to the fucking chase and start pushing for paedophilia to be normalised, because they're just starting to take the piss now at this point, you know? I mean, we all know where it's headed, so why do we have to go around this nonsense? Like,
Bi-lesbian is a split attraction in which an individual is bi-romantic, homosexual, or homo-romantic bisexual. The name bi-lesbian is a shortened version of that. Another definition is when someone is abrosexual and fluctuated, but I think it should be fluctuated, but between Y2betweens, lesbian and bisexual.
AKA in abbreviated terms, retarded.
Yeah, it's fucking. But here's the thing: this is all invented bullshit language, and I believe the aim of it is that us sensible people can never be right. We can never be correct, and they'll always have something to pull us up on. They're, that this is the weaponization of the English language. No, it's a weaponization of the bastardized English language.
Aye, there's that aspect of it, and as well as that, though, it's kind of just the fact that they've got carte blanche to be able to say and do as they please now, because they've managed to normalize the concept that gender is an infinite spectrum, etc., etc. So they can just say whatever the fuck they want, and it's presented as normal. Well, I really wouldn't care less what these individuals got up to in the privacy of their own home, but the fact of the matter is, this is bleeding into like TikTok and teenage culture, and slowly but surely even into primary school life, considering the fact children now learn about a myriad of different genders. So how long before this is included in the textbooks?
Well,
They're fucking non-entities who wave little rainbow flags and probably have gonorrhea.
But this bullshit all came from academia. Right, this didn't start off from grassroots people and work up the academia. It started off with academics getting a wee huddle in a corner on their own, coming up with this bullshit, and then pushing it down the way.
Aye, like crackpots and universities and whatnot, but we've gone so fucking far past that now. Like, this used to be like sort of fringe on Tumblr and websites like that, as well as obviously in university campuses, etc. And there's everywhere.
The difference between fringe on Tumblr and mainstream is approximately 5 years.
Well, DJ, last time you were on there, what did Grindr make of this, mate?
Well, I'm known as DJ Big Dick on Grindr, eh? Fucking. So I'll find out next time I'm on, because I get a lot of feedback. Eh?
Oh, around about 7 years ago. Around about 7 years ago, some people that I may or may not have been in contact with created this bullshit thing called Piss for Equality, and we started chucking it out to see if we could get other people to join on with it. We got two before it got pulled out. We made a bit of a boo-boo. We put it on to a page that we shouldn't have put it on to until it had got more grassroots and got pulled down. Got right. They were like, no, this is fake. But around about 6 weeks ago, I seen a picture of people pissing in their jeans because why not? It's fucking nuts.
What the fuck?
Yeah. October, nobody knows. We have abrosexual. It's another made-up thing. It's just another. Don't try to make sense of it. Just know that it's made up, and there's nothing good comes from it.
Yeah. You could argue it's degeneracy or mental illness, figments of their imagination. At the end of the day, as I said already, they're just fucking non-entities that are allowed to present their bullshit as reality. It's not.
This is what comes from. This is what comes from current community. You know, we stopped putting people with mental disorders into facilities because apparently they were getting institutionalized in the facilities, and it would be better for them to be in the community. And all it did was put the fucking madness into the community.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely an argument to be made to bring these places back, like, but we're getting to a fucking point where, as much as it might sound dramatic, where they're going to start shoving people like us in it. Oh, you're a white heteronormative man. Oh, can't they have a nut in today's non-binary society?
Yeah, there is. I mean, if they honestly, if they do open them up, it is people like us that's going to end up putting the fucking gulags and the mental houses.
But there is a new kid on the block, though, isn't there? I thought they were called, because I just saw it in passing, and they've got their own flag and everything. I thought they were called the Aromatics. when I first saw it, I'll tell you, I'll drop the link in here so you know.
Is this Aromatics?
Yeah, I thought they were called Aromatic, but they're actually called Aromantic, and they've got their own flag and everything.
That's what the A is in LGBTQAI. Right, I'll see if I can get this shirt.
I thought the A was asexual.
Well, here's the thing: they've got that. I made a meme once with all the different names on it, and there's enough letters in it that you can spell out special snowflake, but they interchange what it is whenever they need to, because in certain circles it's atheist. Right.
Okay,
Here we go.
What is this?
Aromantic spectrum awareness. Happy Aromantic Spectrum Awareness Week. They've got a week. They've got a
spectrum.
Yeah. And
I missed out on so much growing up, clearly.
This must be their rainbow flag with the different levels of, we'll go green, white, grey, black.
Very inclusive.
Yep. Oh, this is them doing things for the different days of their week. They're on the day 4.
Wow.
I want to be a wall.
What?
What the actual fuck?
Well, so we're actually at the point where memes are now a reality, where we got bricks identifying as bricks.
Yep. Now, I was quite happy with that song when somebody wanted to be a tree, but yes, well,
yeah, that was it Tim Pope or somebody who did that? I want to be a tree. Do. That's a great song. I think I passed that on to Woodlander once.
Right. Interesting side fact: in Japan, asexuality is commonly defined as a lack of romantic attraction as well as a lack of sexual attraction, whereas in English, a lack of romantic attraction is given its own definition of aromanticism. So it's the same thing. It's the same shit with a different shovel. And these people are wanting to be a wall for some reason, because why wouldn't you? I'm just glad I identify as an attack helicopter.
The meme that never gets older.
Yeah, I remember that coming out.
A long time. Was that not like 2016?
Oh no,
No.
I'm going to say that was 2014. It possibly took it a couple of years to get to you.
I thought it was around about the Trump era.
No, oh no, we had been attack helicopters for quite some time then. I'll tell you how you can date it. Whatever the date was that Facebook started to recognize about 40 genders. It was within a week of that, and some guy came out with a meme, says, next time I'm asked my gender, I'm going to identify as an attack helicopter. So, like, there was fucking a couple of thousand of us at least, started going to everything, click gender, down to the bottom, custom, type in attack helicopter, and after about a year of that, and the numbers starting to go up, attack helicopter started to come up as one of the options. so now, whenever all these weirdos go to, because they love doing this, they've got their own unique gender, and they like nothing more than whenever getting a new phone, going in and putting in their own specific gender. And they open the thing up, gender, male no, female no, other, click other, scroll down, find men, and they're one or two in, they get attack helicopter, and they're like, "You fucking lying bastards, that's made up." And we're like, "Yes, who's arresting?" Which was always the plan.
Thing is, though, I mean, they're the ones that have fucking eradicated the walls between fiction and reality and whatnot, non-fiction. So at the end of the day, you should be able to play them at their own game.
Yep.
They want to make up fucking nonsense. Then just make up nonsense yourself. What are they going to do? It's funny how they can pick and choose, though. You know,
no, well, actually, they can't, because this is where it gets funny. Whenever the first time I interacted with the government about male victims of domestic abuse, I showed up for a meeting with the Justice Department and the Health Department under the name of 42. And they had no choice other than to go with that, because do you know what? They've been letting everybody else say whatever the fuck they want. And it actually worked quite well, because it always every time I went in the meeting, one of the first questions is, why 42? And I'd sit there and say, well, I've been denied services for XYZ due to the fact that I'm male, and I've came to the conclusion that men aren't really treated as people. They're just treated as a number, so I give myself a numerical name, which does put them on a back foot at the start of the meeting. And I was arguing online with somebody, and they said something about, "But you're a cis man." I went, "Here, how long did you just assume my gender?" I went, "What?" I said, "I identify as a cyborg, and my pronoun is the machine." And they had no fucking choice. They had no fucking choice other than to refer to me for the whole that fucking conversation as a cyborg.
More than a robot.
Yep. No, well, cyborg's part human, part robot. And if you could actually see my icon up large, in this left arm, there's like mechanical bits in it. But
I always thought that was a tattoo.
No, that's actual like mechanical bits inside that.
Wow, you learn something new every day. Maybe it's time I go to Specsavers.
No,
what's the fact? What was I tattoo?
It's because the icon squishes everything down small. You need to see it on its full size picture.
Well,
unless
you have my image where I have Nicola Sturgeon in her raw form.
Yep. Toffee, I believe Emma has me on her phone under my given name, and Emma's in my phone with Sexy Emma. So there you go. That's that one. Sorted out for you.
What am I called? What? Sexy DJ.
No, you be DJ resisting the lays.
Well, that's not good enough. Like,
I'm sorry, Emma's the only
well endowed DJ, fucking hunky DJ, chiseled jaw DJ, Caucasian Chad DJ, something along those lines, you know. No feeling it. Fine.
Yep. No, Emma's the only person getting special prefixes.
That's fucking shite.
No, do you know what it is? It's discriminatory. And sometimes, sometimes discrimination's good.
Oh, wow.
Actually, we discriminate every day, because whenever you go to the fridge and you've got slices of ham, and someone was starting to curl up the edges, you discriminate against them and put them in the bin and take the ones that are still very fresh.
This is what we call projection. Speak for yourself. All right.
The lack of discrimination in your food stuff is actually very bad, because you end up eating rancid shit.
Well, no. One thing I do though that's probably a bad thing is sell-by dates. So see if it's like even a day past the sell-by date, I've been at that. Fucking need it.
Yeah, it depends on what it is.
No, it doesn't matter what the fuck it is. It's on the bin. Probably nothing wrong with it, but I don't care. Just not doing it. Just force a habit now. But it is discriminatory in nature. I know. So we all do discriminate, but it's fine. Well, atone for our sins one day.
I'm going to address this point from Edmund. Why are women allowed to leave the Ukraine and men have to stay? That's because males are disposable. Men are disposable. They are only kept whenever they are fulfilling a purpose, whereas women are valued and protected, and that's why. Because there are Ukraine is currently conscripting 16-year-old boys. Because they were born with a penis and they're disposable. The same reason why whenever there's a plaque in Belfast City Hall that lists everybody that died on the Titanic, and 95% of those have got Mr. or Master in front of their name. Very few misses, very few missuses. Because women get to go on the lifeboats and men get to have a go at breathing seawater. Because men are disposable. Which is a biological thing, because whenever you go back to early civilizations, whenever the wild beasts came to the encampment or the roving hordes, if you sent both your young men and young women out and you lost a chunk of your women, it reduced your ability to repopulate. But if you sent out just your men and some of your men came back, provided all the women were there, you could still repopulate to the same extent. So men became disposable. And in all the progress, the one thing that we have not moved forward in is the male disposability. There's a wall in America given the names of 39,500 men that were killed in the Vietnam War and on the American side, and 9 women.
Sort of thing you never hear feminists talking about.
Oh, no.
The war, which really fucking annoys me. You know, when they're going about when they gave women the vote and that. I heard them in the parliament last year, like International Women's Day, and I'm like,
hold on.
What they didn't tell you is like most men in the country got the vote at the exact same time, but that's
that's exactly it. It was the Representation of Peoples Act, and the reason why it came about was it was decided that if the government were going to be allowed to conscript men to go and fight more, then those men had to have some form of a say in the election of the government. And they went to the Pankhursts and the suffragettes and said, right, we're going to give men the vote. Do you want the vote as well? And they went, fuck away off, that's connected to conscription. And they only agreed to being included. Edmund's right, 1918 Representation of Peoples Act. The women, the suffragettes only agreed to be included in the vote whenever they had made sure that it did not mean that women could be conscripted to medical duties or factory work during wartime.
Yes. You know your stuff, eh?
Yeah. Well, there's another thing. Rory Herbert's made a point there. Strange that women and children first doesn't seem to apply to the Dingy invaders. Here's a better question for you. Why is women and children a category? Are women like children? Does that not infantilize them?
No, it's just a way to categorise everybody bar men. Men are the problem.
Yeah, but women and children are the protective species. It's in the whole row for feminism and equal rights, they have always eschewed equal responsibilities. And women and children should not be lumped into the same category unless women and children are equal. I personally think that women are more mature, more intelligent than children, and I think it's degrading to women to lump them in with children. Well, apparently that's sexist.
Yeah. But as I say, it is. Well, no, you're not
It
wrong.
is the
just
default, though.
make men the boogeyman.
That is the default, though, in nature. The male of the species is expendable because it's the female which gives birth, and therefore they are the continuance of that particular pride or tribe or whatever. So, the men become expendable to a greater or lesser degree. It depends on, like, because obviously, if you got more men, then you can defend your territory. But if there's anything kicking off, the men do become the expendable resource, because even if the tribe or whatever survives, and you've only got a few men, but you've still got plenty of women, those few men can still get busy and, or the female of the species, as it can still get busy and get the society back up and running again. So that's why
Yeah, but on the other hand,
way,
have you ever seen a male? Have you ever seen a male lion hunting?
No, because he's there for protection.
Right. Yeah, he does not expend his energy on hunting and stuff because he needs to be ready to go at all times to protect the pride. Now,
Yes.
while our developed world is still expecting men to do the protect and provide thing, they have not removed any. They have actually added on all the other tasks as well. But Emma G makes a good point. She says men can give birth now, can they not?
Sorry, what did you say there?
Well, they can't really. They can't really.
Emma G says she was on the impression men can now give birth.
Well, it's quite telling that it's a year. Yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of the conflict in Ukraine.
Yep.
And who were the first people out of the country? It wasn't the women. It was the Ukrainians that didn't look particularly Ukrainian. And when pressed on the matter, hold on a minute, matey boy, why are you running away? Well, because I'm African. Well, hold on a minute, 2 minutes ago you were Ukrainian. Yeah, fuck that for a game of soldiers. I'm off to Milk and Honey England. Fuck you.
Did you see what happened at the border with the transsexuals?
No.
Oh yeah.
Were they told no, you blokes go back?
Get that dress off, get that makeup off, get back that direction, get yourself a rifle.
Well, there you go.
That that did not work out well for them.
Yeah, it's like we're told Chubby and on sort of procreation terms and survival of the species. I heard a cheeky one from old Chubby Brown, and he said, I've had a vasectomy. Doesn't really do much. It just turns your kids black.
Well, here, which brings me on to another actual interesting thing. It would amaze you how many women whose husbands have had a vasectomy, around about a year and a half later, need to go on the contraceptive pill to keep their periods regular.
What?
Right. Okay. So round about a year and a half after their husbands have a vasectomy, they develop irregular periods that need to be rectified with contraceptive pills.
Wow.
And
did you just stopping your story there? Did you ever see the Harry Enfield skit where he played the South African pharmacist? Did you ever see them? And he's like, and this bloke walks in. And he goes, "Oh yes, Mr. Johnson, how are you doing, sir? Yes, I hope your wife is going to be happy with the result of a pregnancy test." He said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Yes, she was in just the other day with a pregnancy test. Well, I've had a vasectomy. Oh, right.
Yeah. Well, apparently the main reason why they need a contraceptive pill to keep their period regular so they don't get knocked up by somebody else. Another interesting thing is if you're a male in the UK and you've had 2 kids and you go along to your doctor and say, "Here, doc, tell you what it is, I've had 2 kids. It's me done. I don't want any more children. I would like a vasectomy." He'll say, "Right, okay, let's get your wife down here and have a talk about this." And you need your wife's permission to get a vasectomy. However, whenever she's going in after you've had a vasectomy for contraception, you're not invited to that meeting. Because for women, consent to sex is not consent to parenthood, but for men, consent to sex is consent to whatever the fuck she decides.
Oh dear. So what was next on the list to start?
Right, okay, right. Yes. I will. What else do we have? I've a nice wee video.
Good.
Yes.
It's not the human centipede, is it?
No, it's not the human centipede. This is a woman who right. This is a woman that's in court because she has well, basically she murdered a guy, right? And she murdered a guy, chopped him up into bits and whatnot, and then got caught. She's in court and about to find out that her court case is getting put back a bit. Right, so we'll share this. And if we go to about there.
Woman charged with a gruesome murder attacks her attorney in court. Just some crazy moments. Here, get a closer look. Wow, Taylor Schabusiness had to be restrained during the court hearing. She attacked her own attorney just moments after the judge agreed to delay her trial. She faces several charges for homicide and manipulating a corpse and has pleaded not guilty. All right, take a look at this. This woman.
I'm pretty certain that she's done a case the world of good in front of the eyes of the judge there.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Whenever she was arrested by the police, she said, "Good luck with finding all of his organs." So I don't think she's got much of a chance.
No.
They found his legs in the boot of her car.
Oh God, no! What a monster!
Yep. Her original story was
Jesus.
She had been with this guy. Yep, she'd been with this guy. They were smoking crack. Chains were involved. She strangled him a bit. Didn't mean to kill him. And then after she, well, you would have a nibble. Then after that, she dismembered him a bit in the basement and left his head in a bucket in the basement. And one of the other things, I think she left his penis there as well. One of the other things she said to the police is, "I can't believe I forgot the head."
Well, maybe she was going to use the head for a bit of scouse later on, get a nice bit of base sauce for a scouse. Because we all know it's inferior to lobby, but we'll be covering that topic on Monday, presumably, with
yes.
our good friend Toffee.
Yes, I forgot to do all the shout outs. Sansom's going to be on Raw with Toffee on tomorrow night. And that's a random thing to be talking about Raw. And as Emma G said, yes. See if you've got that far with cutting somebody up and want that and the blood's all over your hands, you're bound at some stage, taste your fingers and maybe have a bit of a nibble.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
White breads.
If you've gone that far, why not?
Yeah, God, I'll tell you what, it takes some, doesn't it? This is society now. And, there'll be some bloody leftards, even though I don't like using that term anymore, that'll be saying, the policeman didn't have to use that amount of force. Fucking demon, an evil demon should be putting a fucking crucifix on her head. I bet she'd burn. You know what I mean?
Yep. Right, hold on.
God, dear me. She twatted the shit out of her own defense attorney.
Yep.
I bet he was there. He says, well, Your Honor, this shrinking violet, this little wallflower here, who we are obliged to defend, we need a continuance, Your Honor. We're going to delay this. You fucker. You know what I mean? It's like, you couldn't make it up. It literally is like, what on earth? Society, isn't it great? Bloody hellfire.
DJ, see that video you sent Hamza Wants a Berry?
Hi.
Can you put the link for that into the private chat here? Because I'm having problems getting it from Telegram to my...
I know, bother.
Great.
Something's...
And we'll have a look at that. We'll see some Scottish stuff.
Well, I mean, the Bitty thing's just a piss take video, but it's doing quite well, has to be said.
DJ, only do it if you've got the energy, mate, with your aids and that. Just, don't push yourself.
I'll try, mate. Yeah. Well, last time I shagged you without protection, that's all I'm saying.
It's all right. I've got bad aids. I've got bad aids. You don't want that, mate.
Oh, no, it's you fucking filthy English. You gave me something.
Here, Toffee says, I don't know what it is, but I genuinely have a thing for violent women. I'll tell you what it is, Toffee. It's
big noses.
No, it's the crazy sex that comes along with that, but mate, it's not worth it. Don't. Emma G saying Toffee wants tied up and spanked, but I think she's just projecting. Right.
That's the first link's the Bitty thing, and then the second one is the probably the most egregious thing I've seen, arguably all year.
Right. Get this one up.
It's fucking heartbreaking. I'm not in like.
Right. Here we go. On the StreamYards. Present. Share screen. Here we go.
The Health Secretary launched his NHS recovery plan in August 2021, but according to Audit Scotland, current activity is running well below NHS recovery plan targets. More people are being added to waiting lists that are being removed from them, and people are waiting longer for treatment. Performance against cancer waiting time standards is getting worse. Longer waiting times are negatively impacting.
I don't know why I came in my head this morning to do that.
What was he saying? Beady?
It's a fucking again, Little Britain. There's one of the sketches. There's a guy that always wants breastfed off his mother, despite the fact he's fully grown, but he calls it Bitty. So Bitty all the time. So she just whaps her tits out, irrespective of where she is. But that clip of Hamza sat there, that dulcet toned, whipped schoolboy next to his mommy sturgeon, where she put her hand up to shush him. It just, I don't know, it looked as if it was perfect for a wee voiceover. But the second link that I sent you is, as I said, probably one of the most egregious things I've seen all year so far come out of Scotland. Fucking disgusting, actually.
Right, hold on. Right, yes, got that one now. Right, hold on, back to comments. And yes, I think I know what this one is. Right. StreamYard. Share screen. Share screen. Right. Here we go. Strap yourselves in, people.
The next new petition is petition PE 1991, Develop an Educational Resource on Abortion, also lodged by Gemma Clark. The petition calls on the Scottish Parliament to urge the Scottish Government to work with Education of Scotland to develop a health-focused and stigma-challenging educational resource on abortion and make it available to all secondary schools in Scotland. Gemma believes it is essential for all young people to receive medical, accurate and health-focused education on abortion, and that challenging the stigma around abortion is also essential for well-rounded sexual health curriculum. In a written submission in support of her petition, Gemma has also raised concerns about anti-abortion groups visiting schools and the importance of ensuring young people are provided with factual information regarding their healthcare. The Scottish Government have responded in this petition, as they often do in these cases, to state that the curriculum is not mandatory. They do not, however, share details of relationships, sexual health and parenthood resources that are available to teachers. It is also noted that these resources have been developed and peer-reviewed in partnership with educators, health professionals and the first sector organisations, with the intention of providing young people with learning about this factual objective, which enables them to make informed choices about their sexual health and well-being. The committee has also received submissions from the Humanist Society of Scotland, a joint letter from the British Pregnancy Advisory Service, Back Off Scotland and the Scottish Teachers for Positive Change of Wellbeing. These submissions are broadly supportive of the petitioner's aim to ensure pupils receive medically accurate and health-focused education on abortion. Do members have any comments or suggestions? Carol Mochan?
Thanks, convener. Yeah, I am broadly supportive of the petition, and I have been approached by other members in the Parliament to suggest that we could seek to find out some further information on what actually happens within the school education system, and how we could support proper education around this quite sensitive, often sensitive issue for young people at schools, young women in particular. So I would be keen to see if we could get together some of the information and see how it is actually taken up in the school curriculum.
Any other suggestions, colleagues? I wonder if we could write to organisations including COSLA, Association of Directors of Education in Scotland, the General Teaching Council for Scotland, the Scottish Catholic Education Service and Society for Protection of an Unborn Child to seek their views on the issues raised within the petition. Are we all agreed?
That
I'm gotta be honest, that has got to be one of the most fucking egregious things I've ever heard of. Like, abortion, whatever your opinions on the matter, like, there's no getting away from the fact that it's now become a part of societal norm. Like, I don't necessarily agree with it. I think that there should be some serious limitations and whatnot to these procedures. I'm very much in that camp. But to take it now a step further in the sense that they wish to have it as educational resources or repackage it in educational format to quote unquote challenge the stigmas. So that in and of itself already excludes what you would assume that they're going to tell them all about the ramifications of what an abortion actually entails. Are they going to talk to them about the long-term consequences of the grief that many women feel and the regret and whatnot? No, we're going to get rid of the stigma attached to it, aka any idea that it might necessarily be a bad thing well, that has to be scrapped, and we're going to promote it and make it a positive thing. And this is coming from a government who pretend to be so concerned about a declining birth rate in Scotland, while they make no fucking effort to incentivise native births or bring families together, or make houses cheaper for young families to get started and whatnot. Nah, don't even promote motherhood in school now, because it's all about feminism and entrepreneurship for women, etc., etc. But my point is, why the fuck are they doing everything within their power? And this is a rhetorical question. Why are they doing everything within their power to ensure that abortions are easy, accessible, and promote it as if it's fucking normal, positive, and beneficial to society and to women in particular? Well, why are they doing that while simultaneously pretending to be concerned about plummeting birth rates? You tell me. It's fucking disgusting shit.
Okay.
By the way,
How long?
who voted for this? Can I just ask? Who voted for this? Anybody in the chat from Scotland? Did you vote for this? No, because you vote for these dickheads if you vote, because you think you're getting independence. What ends up happening is you don't get your independence, but what you do get is quote unquote progressive policies, while you get told, oh, don't worry about it, you'll get your independence next election, eh? Well, good luck with that, because the fucking longer this shit goes on, the worse Scotland is becoming. And it is every single year, it is getting more and more and more quote unquote woke, more and more fucking egregious, odious, and embarrassing on a national front. And the reality of the matter is, we're all being shafted, and disgusting shit like this has been snuck in the back door. Because I didn't see this in any of the papers this morning. Did anybody see this in the papers this week? No. If it wasn't for me fucking sifting through all this shit, none of us would know that this has even been discussed.
Right. I've got a question. How far is it from that being introduced till the school nurse is handing out morning after pills?
Well, when the petition and whatnot's agreed upon, as you heard there's recommendations that were put forward. Once they're acted upon and it's then agreed upon, it's then put to the Parliament effectively. So could be 6 months, could be a year. I don't necessarily know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, see if they get this into the schools, where they're teaching about abortion, teaching it's a good thing and all that. How long between that being purely educational and the school nurse handing out morning after pills?
Well, yourself. Look at the LGBT shit. We're like the notion that the slippery slope fallacy is indeed a fallacy. Well, the LGBT prove that to be total bullshit. It's not a fallacy at all. So yeah, I could quite easily see the same thing being applicable with abortion.
Oh, we went from we just want to get married to suck the female penis.
Exactly. Or you're a transphobe. If you won't suck Catherine's fat booby, you're a transphobe.
Here's the other thing. These people purport to be all about equality. Yep.
Right,
okay. So would equality not mean that anywhere that a woman has the ability to get an abortion, a man would have the same time period to abort his legal financial responsibilities?
I'm assuming this is rhetorical.
But that's what equality would look like. That's what reproductive right. That's what equal reproductive rights for men would look like. That you've got the same 26 weeks or whatever it is to go fill in a form. Don't want this child, nothing to do with me, and walk away.
Yeah, in theory,
but
as you know yourself, equality is just a fucking concept at this point. It's just equity, aka giving everybody a leg up. Everybody that's classified as marginalised and oppressed.
It's more about it's about increasingly putting responsibility for everything on an ever decreasing group of people. It's absolutely mad. And this thing's not going to go in the school and be taught in a fair and even-handed manner. They've even said the part of the petition is to stop pro-life groups going in and talking to children.
They even call them extremists.
Yep.
What the fuck? It just goes to show like which side of the aisle they sit on. Well, that goes without saying when they're trying to push a policy like that in the first place. But to refer to them as extremists, I mean, fuck. This is where we're at now. You know, they want to push radical climate bullshit. You disagree with that? Oh, you're a science denier. They want to push fucking untested jibby jabbies onto people, including children. You disagree with that concept, or you can question it. Oh, well, you're a science denier again, etc. You know, the list is endless. You know, if you don't agree with mass unfiltered immigration, you're a fucking racist. You know, they've got a label for everything, and it's just getting severely tedious at this point because their political bullshit is being presented as if it's the reality, and we need to act on that reality is the baseline for where policies have to be made upon. No, it's a fucking political ideology. It's a political opinion, if you will, to assume that people that are pro-life are somehow extremist in nature, the same way that people that are pro-life probably assume that there's many on that side of the aisle that are extremists, etc. But it's subjective. So to base policy on something that's subjective just goes to show where the fuck the Scottish society is at this point in time. And it's just a progressive hellhole where every single policy, as I said, has to be acted upon with the progressive shit that they believe is the baseline. It's not reality, though. It's fucking opinions.
No, you're absolutely right, mate. And, you know, this is the epitome of my body, my choice. Now I demand you get the 5th booster. That's literally what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yep. So when does the baby get a choice?
We always have a choice. It's a patriarchy.
Yeah, right. You know, but that's fine. My body, my choice. Do you know what? See that child growing inside a woman's belly? That's somebody else's body.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is the thing. All this shit, like this is all feminist bullshit, more or less. I mean, they've got so many different things that I could be here all night listing off. But yet they come from a position where they actually still pretend that they need these essential policies because they're all so marginalised, etc., etc. It's a fucking joke. Like, it's an absolute joke. They're in no shape or form oppressed or marginalised or in need of prioritisation, additional attention. This notion of a patriarchy is dead and gone, and that we are living under a fucking feminist, well, we are a feminist foreign policy, but it's totally just feminized shit. Everything from education, everything from fucking political policy, to the way that every policy is framed and shaped, etc. The narratives, the whole thing, all predicated on their beliefs. Like fringe, extremist, feminist ideology is now presented as reality, and policy has to be built on the back of it. It's a fucking joke. It started off with that thin-lipped cunt, Sturgeon, and it's not going to get any better under whoever replaces him.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This comes from the United Nations via the World Health Organization, via all the other medical things, which...
Oh, they've got our best interests at heart, mate. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, they've got our best interests at heart. Via the lobby groups, then into whatever civil servant it was that wrote up that plan, because you can bet your ass it wasn't one of those politicians. And then they present it as a bill, and it doesn't get seen by a sane person from inception to fucking being produced as a law. And the only thing they ever look at is, can we do this? And never look at, should we do this? And does it have a positive or negative effect on the actual people that the policies are going to be visited upon? Because, yeah, that's great. Go ahead. Teach kids in school. Have all the sex you want. Don't worry, because we've got these abortion things.
I mean, it was already sort of included within educational resources in Scotland. I don't know about the rest of the UK, but in Scotland anyway, where abortion was included within the sections where they would be talking about contraception. So it's already been framed in a sense that it's contraceptive in nature. But now they're just taking it a step fucking further, where they want to eradicate the stigma, etc. It's like, it's just I don't know. I think it's absolutely abhorrent, in all honesty. And I don't even think you necessarily have to be an ardent believer in the, the pro-life side of things to have that opinion, or even staunchly religious. I just think it's fucking vile. Like they're not even going to teach it in a sort of like a mediocre manner, or unbiased manner, even is probably a better term. No, it's going to be it's going to come from the side of the aisle that suggests that any dissenting opinions that oppose their bullshit are extremists, aka pro-life extremists. We're going to eradicate the stigma and whatnot.
Have they ever considered there's a stigma around abortion in general, and particularly teenage abortion, because it should be a fucking stigma? It's not something that you should be celebrating. Like, this goes back to a few years ago. We had the movement to shout out your abortion. Celebrate your abortion. And then there was the woman in America who was all confused and sad because after 11 abortions, she became infertile.
Fucking hell. 11 abortions, that's just fucked. No, actually, no, alas, just on a side note, who used to live around the corner from me, a few streets up, right? She had 5 abortions. Why? Because she kept getting pregnant with boys and she wanted a daughter. Like that. They always bring up shit like, well, what about rape cases and inbreds, etc.? They make a total minuscule amount of all abortion cases.
Well, actually, you're on a very important point there. They keep on saying, right, we'll limit this to rape cases and whatnot. Do you know what that does? That makes a woman who definitely wants an abortion, and she goes in the doctor. Doctor says, I can't give you an abortion unless it was rape. Were you raped? You want this abortion? Was it rape? Right, yes, light bulb switches on. Yes, it was rape. Go get that abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Who caused
it? The only way that could work is if there was a deadline, effectively. Like, if you were raped, then you'd have to come forward within a certain amount of days, like 2 or 3 days, not fucking 5 weeks later.
But the real problem is that we allow these demons to steel man, the absolute minuscule exception as being the rule. So, but what about rape cases? And they'll steel man that one and basically straw man the fact that the 99.999% of these are just sort of slat-knickered wastrel women. That's literally what it is, isn't it? It's and to be honest, I say that almost as a cast-off remark, but the truth of the matter is that I don't know of any ordinary person, decent person who has found themselves in a position where they've had to make that choice, who one would see that as being celebratory, or would be going, yeah, I've just had my 3rd abortion and things like that. Now, the people that you see on social media who do come out and say these things, I have it in my my skepticism that they are people who have never actually had an abortion. They're just doing it for clickbait or whatever, and just to show we support the current thing. Because I know that the mental trauma of having to go through a procedure like that isn't something, well, put it this way, it isn't something that somebody who isn't a sociopath or psychopath would do lightly. It is something which does affect them deeply. So,
yes, but Sansom, you're talking about people your age and my age that grew up with in the atmosphere that we grew up in. These kids, like, see if this bill goes through in Scotland, these girls are going to be told it's a clump of cells from their 12, 13, 14 years old. And they'll get this down younger if they can possibly do it. Right? And they're told it's nothing. And it's very normal. It's what you do. And they don't have the same idea about it. and because they've been brainwashed to think, oh, right, I've got a baby on the way. Do you want it? No, go down, get this procedure. It's quick, it's easy, and off the walk.
In my opinion, and if that's the case, right, if the because obviously, you know, when they prescribe the pill, I think that's up to a few weeks there. They can prescribe the morning after. They call it the morning after pill, but it can be used, I think, a couple of weeks or so, or a few weeks after a potential conception, and it'll have the same effect. But if they get to a point where, you know, the tissue is a certain amount, I would say, yeah, okay, then you can have your abortion if you're one of these underage oiks, you know, whatever age it may be. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a sample of that, you know, we'll let you have that right, but we're going to take a sample of that, you know, fetus to genetically match against, you know, any criminal database that's in there that we've got now or whatever. Because you need to tell, if you're 12 or 13 or 14 or 15, you need to tell us who got you pregnant. And if you're so slack-knicked, you don't know because you've had that many, you know, you've had more partners than a fucking Dutch bank scam, shall we say, right? Well, you'll give us the full list and we'll match that tissue against the person involved. And if they happen to be over 18, we're going to charge them with stat rape. So there you go. That's what I would do.
There's something else. Like, there's a lot of these, the vast majority of these abortions are over 16, right? It's all legal. But do you know what? You can go down to the doctors and get an implant that works as a contraceptive for 5 fucking years while even having these pregnancies. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you can walk into the doctors for free as a 16-year-old girl and say, right, I don't want to have any kids, stick one of those implants under me, and you can forget about it for 5 years. Where we're having the pregnancies.
It's because it's not for everybody. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
right. Okay. If that isn't for you, do you know what? There's the coil. Go have that implanted. Does you for years. No pregnancies.
Yeah.
There's something like 15 different forms of female contraception. At least 5 of them are low maintenance in that you don't have to take a pill every day and all that sort of stuff. The only reason that we have unwanted pregnancies is in large numbers is because a lack of responsibility by the females and right, and they don't care whether they get pregnant or not, and they're of the mind that depending on who I reckon the father is, I'll decide to keep it or I'll decide to not keep it, and the facilities are to just not keep it.
Wow. I think as well, there's an aspect of they always assume it won't happen to them, you know, until it does. But I think as well, I mean, there's obviously each case by case basis and whatnot, but there obviously will be a lot of lasses who don't even realise they're pregnant for several weeks, but then because they've got the ability to go and get an abortion because it's a convenience to go and do that, I think that's wrong. I mean, if you fucking got pregnant, you know, having unprotected sex, whatever, that's your fucking responsibility. Like, I just don't agree with that side of things at all. But obviously, as Sam alluded to, the argument that gets used all the time to push back on points like that is, well, what about rape cases and shit? It's like, that's fucking got nothing to do with it.
Do you know who that's most damaging to? Actual fucking rape cases.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Edmund, Meanwhile, the Catholics don't even have contraception. Yeah, that stopped being a thing where Catholics just abandoned all contraception. That stopped being a thing 30 to 40 years ago, mate.
Fuck condoms. Shy.
Yep. You'll notice that it wasn't just barrier contraceptions that the Catholics were against. It was all of it. That this whole idea that the only reason why you should have sex is to produce a baby, that went downhill a long way ago. And you only need to look at the birth rates and what's happened to them in Catholic countries to know that there's contraception being used.
I mean, I'm a fucking girl that when I was like 14 years old, there was a girl that was 17 who I might have had a bit of fun with from time to time. And she ended up pregnant. And she fucking had an abortion because she didn't want to have a child with a boy that was 14 when she was over the age. That's what cemented my opinion on abortions, because I had enough fun. And obviously I was a bit young to be a father, but no matter what way you slice and dice it, she killed my kid without even giving me so much as a fucking moment to think about it.
Yeah, because she didn't want charged with rape.
It's just harsh, because at the end of the day, she shouldn't have been sleeping with me. If you
can't get charged
if you
with
don't have
rape,
a kid with a 14-year-old boy, you shouldn't be fucking having sex with him, then, should you? You know what I mean? But it's
can't
fine,
get charged with rape though. 42.
If I get pregnant, I'll just go and get the baby killed. You know, it's fine. That's fine, though.
So, 25-year-old woman has sex with 14-year-old boy in
she was
England.
17.
Right? No, this is an actual case. 25-year-old woman has sex with 14-year-old boy in England, gets caught, got a suspended sentence, and his father says it's his fault anyway. He's a dirty wee shit.
Well, that might be the case. However, legally, she couldn't be charged with rape. No woman can, because it's a crime that's only ever apportioned to men. Legally can only ever be apportioned to men.
What she would have got done. The legal standard for rape is forced penetration. Forced to penetrate is not rape. However, she would have what she was up for was sexual assault. Sexual assault of a minor, and walked out with a suspended sentence.
Yeah, because it's considered a far lesser crime than rape.
Yep.
Which only men can do. And like I say, it just goes to show how, and I think you're quite right, mate. I think I am of that age where I find it, like I say, I'm not one of these totalitarian 100% anti-abortion, shall we say, but I'm not just fucking willy-nilly do what you want sort of thing. And I can remember, was it in 87 when Ceausescu in Romania fell?
Yep.
And one of the things that, because obviously they made, to pull the heartstrings, they made massive amounts about those Romanian orphanages, didn't they? Yeah. But one of the things that even, I think it was, somebody have to tell me, it was either 87 or 89, I can't remember when, but, I was at the age where girls were of particular interest, shall we say. Back in those days. And even that, I found it, when they did this report, and it wasn't a hit piece because it was factually correct, the main form of contraception in Ceausescu's Romania was abortion.
Yes.
And I thought, well, that's terrible. You know what I mean?
Going back to those orphanages, what happened was those orphans were taken in by families, and those children could not be socialized, and they did, and these were even ones that were like babies. The babies couldn't be socialized, and they'd done brain scans on them and compared them to normal brain scans, and from that we found out that children in the womb are affected by aggravation and violence towards the mother during pregnancy. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because there was all sorts came out of that hellscape. The thing is, what I don't understand, I'm just drifting off topic slightly here. What I don't understand is how any of our current traitors in the power chain, the power chains of all westernized so-called democracies, don't see Ceausescu and said, why was Ceausescu off? Well, because he treated the people like shit and did fuck all that they wanted. And how is that different to, the Senate in America or Westminster over here or Holyrood? These fuckers need to understand, there's 650 people out of like 60 million. So it's roughly about 100,000 people to one. Why aren't these fuckers like shitting themselves over being Ceausescu? That's what I want to understand. Why are they not, because first of all, they want us to believe that we live in a democracy, and we clearly don't, because they do fuck all that we want. They literally do fuck all that we want. And I was discussing this with John Davidson just last night after last night's movie stream. And I was talking to him, I was just saying, the average family now, and this is the God's honest truth, this is no blowing smoke up your arse or anything like that. But the average family now, or the average, the average family, the income or the average sort of household, shall we say, which is based on 40 years work and 15 years retirement as an average, pays into the system, into the UK system, 1,100,000 and something in taxes, both direct and indirect, over their lifetime. So effectively, ordinary people, not like the ultra rich or the ultra wealthy, pay over £1 million in taxes, and that has doubled. The amount of tax burden that we pay has literally doubled since 1977. So literally in less than 50 years, the burden on the individual household has doubled. And that was based on the pricing index of the latest year where they did this study, which was 2019, 2020. So it doesn't even take into account all of the disastrous inflation that we've had to take on board because of the sniffle, and then what they like to blame old Pooty time, which is their own fucking fault because they're useless shit. So basically, so it'll be a lot worse now. So we paid over £1 million in taxes, and yet, in that time, at least since 1991, every single year since 1991, every ordinary person in this country's life has gotten a whole lot worse. Our society's gotten worse year on year. So what the fuck are we paying these criminals for?
Right. I have an answer for you. Right. We the people get to vote on local councils, parish councils, and the government. Okay? And we can interact with those people. They can interact with us. We elect them. Right? And then put a big line above that, because we cannot interact with anything above that. Now, so we elect our government. Our government then forms treaties with other governments, such as the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, trade treaties, European Union, all things like that. So that layer above that, they send stuff down to our governments. Our governments enact them. Nothing to do with us, but it happens. Now, the layer above the treaties is your second tier NGOs, the likes of UNICEF, UNESCO, World Bank. What's the other one? The World Economic Fund, Red Cross,
the IMF,
academia, right? Okay, so they send stuff down to the level above us, right? So it's filtered down, so it looks like it's coming from a different source. And it comes down, that gets enacted upon us, and above that level of NGOs, you've got the United Nations, and we have got an illusion of an effect on what the government does because we elect a different batch of wankers every 4 years. But
I know what actually happens. What I'm saying is, why do we allow it to happen when what we want in Parliament is people who are looking out for our interests, not these wank stains above them? That's what I'm trying to say. You know, why aren't they constantly in fear of being Ceausescu'd? Just doesn't make any sense to me. 100,000 to 1, these fuckers. But anyway.
Yeah, we can't organise and do it. The Romanians did it without even social media to get themselves organised. They just had enough and went down and took them out. Couple of things I do want to say. Welcome, Julie Skinner has actually found her way here. Very good, thank you. And where was that other one? DJ. That's bollocks, big son, because the paramilitary's telling local MPs. But you've got some small courses in that, and you might get a little bit of movement here or there. But at the end of the day, the globalists end up getting their way. You maybe hold some things up here or there, but the globalists get their way in the end.
It's the fact they all hide behind treaties, like you say.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have to do this because it's enshrined in international law, you know? Like, fucking so. Or even, like, the Sustainable Development Goals one really pisses me off because that's actually not even legally binding. So, like, we're all by just choice, like, abiding by all their shit. But because all countries are going along with it, gives the illusion of power. So they hide behind this crux of it's sustainable development goals, etc., etc. But it's not legally binding. You don't need to fucking follow it. Like, they don't need to implement all this shit, but they are anyway. And I think there's certain things like that like the vast majority of the public don't even realize. Like, just because something's enshrined in law, so what are they going to do? Sanction you? So fucking what? Like, what's the alternative? Just continue to go along with their bullshit? Clearly. On top of that, though, just back to Sens's point, the other thing as well about what he said there was the fact that we now live in an age where the vast majority of people, or maybe not, I can't speak for everybody, but a good portion of people know that it doesn't matter who you vote for now. You're going to get the same bullshit and you're going to get broken promises. Like Labour, Tory. It's just one in, one out, one in, one out. They all make the same promises. They all fail to deliver on all of them. All this shit about reducing immigration, etc., etc. They know, everybody knows that nothing's going to change, but yet they still somehow go and put an X on their ballot paper when it comes to vote because for some strange reason they go, well, we know nothing's going to change, but I'll vote anyway. What's the fucking point? Stop.
What we need to do is all vote for the Monster Raven Party.
In my ideal world, everybody just stops fucking voting, then their power dissipates.
No, because you will get those left-wing retards that'll go and fucking clean up every ballot. We need to go en masse.
But my point is, if the vast majority of the public just decide, fuck you all, we're not doing this anymore.
Right, yes, so
you're getting cheesy left-wing shit anyway. What are the fucking Tories doing?
Right,
nothing
okay. Yes. But see if everybody that didn't vote in the last election and everybody that was disenfranchised voted for the Munster Raven Rooney Party and put them in charge to run the country, you would get a change in your politicians then.
That's if you're assuming that they would even have the ability to win cleanly. I don't believe that personally.
Oh, do you know what?
Even if everybody voted for them, I don't believe it. I think democracy is an illusion.
Right, here's the thing. Our current batch of politicians have no idea that have no thought that we would en masse vote Munster Raven Rooney, right? So therefore they'll not go to the bother of fixing it. And that way we would get through. We'll have 4 years of Munster Raven Rooney, and in the meantime, the other parties would need to buck their ideas up.
Yeah, but then it comes back to again what I said there though about all these treaties and whatnot. Yeah, they might get in, right? Hypothetically, but then what? Are they going to go against the grain? You know, when you've got your fucking human rights treaties, your United Nations treaties, your EU treaties that we shouldn't even be abiding by, but you know the list is fucking endless. So like we're stuck to all this shit that effectively can only ever change if we were to get somebody, hypothetically speaking, in power that went fuck you. I'm not following this nonsense. but the vast majority would just kowtow the minute they get in. There's an argument to be made that some of these so-called basic red pill politicians that have come and gone over the years might very well have good intentions on their way up. Then they win and realise they can't do fuck all.
This is. Sorry, mate, go on.
No, just there's an argument to be made there. I mean, I never had any faith in Trump, really, because I've never been able to believe politics works. But there is an argument to be made that maybe he had good intentions. Same in that last in Italy. Everybody thought she was going to be a fucking saving grace for Italy. She's got in an immigration skyrocketed. It's almost as if these people realise when they get in, they can't do fuck all.
Well, that's when you think, has she been put in that position as the steel man in order to actually portray a straw man position? This is because it works the other way around as well. But, this is one of the major reasons why I've been saying, and I'm not alone, it's been a thing for a long while now, that we literally should demand that the government put an option on all ballots called none of the above. And the reason why they won't do that is because they would shit themselves, because they would get at least 80% of people saying none of the above.
Right. Well,
with a residual 20% made up of fucking weirdos and BAMEs, basically. That's what it would be.
See, here's the thing. In order to make any actual change, say anybody, Joe Bloggs, gets elected Prime Minister of Great Britain, President of America, whatsoever, he needs to walk in the next day. All civil service above a certain level, go home, fuck off, don't come back. All the advisors, all of that at the top of the tree, they all need to fuck off as well. And probably the top level of your military. And then you're going to have to figure out who you put in those jobs and vet them. Because that's the only way you're getting rid of the entrenched shit that we have. And I don't think anybody's got the swingers to do it. And even if they did, I don't think it would be possible to do. Because the problem that you have then is you don't have anybody that's qualified to actually run the country and keep everything ticking over while you get your policies changed.
Yeah, suggesting that we do now. We had a failed lawyer in charge of Scotland for the last 8 years, and we're supposed to believe she was a virologist, she was a climatologist.
And that's the criminal part about it, because the civil service has been so bureaucratized and expanded so that nothing can change. That's one of these master plans, because the interference from government has become so extreme, and particularly so since the Second World War, that every single time a new administration enters Parliament with we're going to reduce government, reduce spending, and all this sort. Government increases, spending increases, and it has done since. It has done since the First World War for us, but especially so since the Second World War, and that's why, like I say, I have never ever voted Labour once in my entire life. I've voted Tory. The last few times I've voted UKIP twice, and then the Brexit Party the last time. And that cunt Farage, sorry, but he is a cunt. That cunt Farage, he had the opportunity to destroy that Tory party twice, and he fucked off out of it both times. And I'll never forgive him for that. Yeah?
All he's done is destroy UKIP from the inside out and brag about destroying
that as well.
That's all he's ever done.
Farage only came back in to take UKIP out of the equation.
Yeah,
exactly. So I like I say, I've never ever once in my life voted Labour, and as it stands now, I am in a constituency which has never been conservative, or hasn't been conservative in over 50 years, if not longer, since politics began. Yeah, but we do have a conservative politician, a lady called Dehanna Davies or something like that. Pretty lady, very nice lady, very contacted her personally myself when we had that debacle with the P&O ferries thing where the employees were treated like shit. I actually wrote to her and said, this is a fucking disgrace. And give her a due, she did write back, which I was quite, amazed at, that she actually even responded. But it was the usual mealy-mouthed, non-committal bullshit of, yes, the government is looking into this and blah, blah. No, I don't want the government to look into it. I want Boris Johnson on the phone to P&O Ferries CEO saying, right, cunts, you've just had 130 million out of our arse pocket to make sure that you were putting this staff on furlough. Just as soon as we come out of that and you think the sun's going to shine and you can make hay from that, you're going to banjo them off and put cheaper foreign employees in their place. Okay, you can do that. Happy to do that. You're part of the DP World multi-billion pound entertainment and holiday franchise, or whatever it's called. We're happy for you to do that. However, we expect that £130 million to be paid to us now in lieu of those employees, because we're going to need that money to pay their wages for the next few months until they get back on their feet again. And by the way, we're going to use the British Navy to embargo all of your fucking ships until you do it. That's what we should have done.
I got a better question for you. See the trade unions. Why did the trade unions not take a court case for every single individual employee individually? Because what happened there was fucking illegal.
It was illegal, and they admitted so afterwards.
Yeah,
and they had an inquiry. And they said, well, we are sorry.
Yeah, and inquiry my left testicle. What about the court cases? Because every one of those has a fair employment tribunal case.
Yeah,
they're all.
Yeah.
So, and why?
Going back to my original point where I got waylaid was, I've never voted Labour once, but whenever the next election is, unless there's an independent, I'm voting Labour, because as much as I fucking hate Labour, I want the Tory party destroyed more. I really want. I've given up now. I want fucking things to be so fucking bad. Everybody decides, yeah, fuck this. Let's Ceausescu the cunts. Fuckers.
See, the thing with that, though, the only thing about Labour that concerns me is they are, like the Tory party, for all they're no different, really. They are the only thing, on paper anyway, at face value, standing in the way of the SNP obtaining a referendum. I don't think the same is as concrete in terms of truth when it comes to Labour. For all you know, it might be a case of the SNP and Labour have to form a pact. And, there's that aspect of things. But, I don't give a fuck who gets in, because it says they're all puppets to me. Like it's no different to fucking the Thunderbirds being in Westminster, really, or Team America. But the reality is, one party claims to be opposed to independence, the other one not so much. So,
right. Well, okay. Why do trade unions finance Labour when all their members vote Labour? Because the trade unions have got fuck all interest in their employees. They are socialists through and through at the top end. They are more interested in getting rights for asylum seekers, for foreigners, for trans people, for women, for whatever the current thing is. They're organising rallies for Ukraine. They have no interest whatsoever on the shop floor, and that's why they finance Labour.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, just before I've got something else that remember a few weeks ago I was on about clips from Parliament in Scotland.
Yes.
Talk about PA. I mean, I'm not going to play the entirety of it, but some of the bullshit they were saying, like it's unreal what's going on in Scotland just now. They've got this race equality inquiry going on now, or inequality inquiry, obviously, and they obviously copy and pasted the gender pay gap mantra / myth, debunkable myth, but they're now making it applicable to ethnicity. Oh, there's not enough black teachers, must be systemic racism, etc., etc. But they started talking about PA in Scotland, talking about the protests and stuff. And it's kind of interesting because the fact that this is being discussed in Parliament, again, coming from the perspective that their political ideology is in fact the reality, and everything else, whether that's dissent, etc., is in fact wrong. So they even go so far as to call for the Scottish Government to respond to the Big Bad PA, you know. So
Yep.
that.
Yep. Where you putting it? Are you doing Are you putting it into the private chat?
I can just share it on my screen.
All right.
Since as I said,
Yes,
it's a long video, but there's like certain sections of it's about PA, so
right.
I'm just getting it up. But
oh fuck! Diane Abbott as Chancellor of the Checker and David Lammy as Home Secretary. It's absolutely farcical. Absolutely farcical.
Now, there we go. Let me see. Fucking laptop's so slow, man. Right.
Has your laptop got AIDS, DJ?
Don't know, did you put your Bobby in it?
Yeah, in the disk drive.
Oh, man.
Give it a nice floppy.
Another virus in my floppy disk.
I had to thumb it in soft and everything.
Oh, no wonder the charger's broken. Right. Anyway, let me see. Share screen. Sounds.
You got all your tabs closed?
Aye. Nothing of untoward can be seen. Right. Okay. Let me put this up.
Because ultimately the immigration system is primitive, as great. I want to also touch on some of the things that our members have been sharing with us and some of the recent experience we had. On Sunday, as Graham mentioned, the dispersal process of people seeking asylum is now being placed in hotel accommodations across the country. And there has been a new hotel being used in Erskine. I'm not sure if you have seen what happened, but unfortunately, the local community in Erskine, together with a racist, and I would call it fascist group, who called a protest to say that people in Erskine who placed in the hotels are not welcome here. And unfortunately, on Sunday, I was present there, and I felt the hatred in the people when they were shouting openly racist words and openly racist things towards the people who were placed in the hotels. So my question would be, why is this happening, and what can we do to prevent this? What is the Scottish Government doing to prevent this? Because there's a lot of misinformation being shared in the local communities, and when you place a group of vulnerable people in these areas where there is already ongoing issues, such as, there's austerity, there's poverty that's happening. However, it's easier to blame, as we all know, when there's an outsider, let's call it, somebody who gets moved into the area. And the hostility that was experienced there, I literally felt it. And that was something that made me really uncomfortable in Scotland, where I have been here for 21 years. And I was questioning of, how do we welcome people? How do we integrate people when they are met rather than placed in Erskine Hotel? And it's not just Erskine Hotel, it's the other hotels across the country in Scotland and across UK as well. And how are we ensuring that people in the local communities know the facts about why people are being placed in hotel accommodations? And as Graham mentioned as well, this is a practice we are hugely concerned, because it is not welcoming people when people are not placed in normal accommodations in our communities. This is creating the notion of us and them, and ultimately it's going to lead to a lot of racism and hatred incidents in our communities.
Thank
So, I mean, that's the first of several segments throughout that video. But like the sort of consensus there straight away. You heard it. It's like, oh, it's misinformation. You know, it's an us versus them. They're blaming migrants for all their woes. That's bullshit. Total fucking bullshit. Like, yeah, there is an argument to be made about the fact that, you know, charity begins at home and everybody's quote unquote cost of living is unbearable at the moment, or more or less everybody's, while simultaneously they're just slapping a bunch of babes in each and every 5-star hotel up and down the country. But nobody at any point has turned around and said it's their fucking fault for why we're all living in shit. So that's a straw man in and of itself. I'd like for them to define misinformation as well. What misinformation? Oh, what are they all about? Of course, it's easy for them to construct their own little narrative and insist that any dissenting opinions from said narrative are in fact that of the fascists and the neo-Nazis, etc. As I said, they go all this fucking circle jerk in this inquiry, politicians and twats like her that you can see on the screen, an immigrant, I advocate for more immigrants. It's lovely to see progression, but they start to talk about the fact that the government needs to do more to stop things like this, etc. You know, it's, you can see a mile off what's coming.
DJ, they will define misinformation about 3 minutes after they define racism.
Redefine it, you mean?
No, they can't define it. Racism is any opinion they don't like. So, actually, that's probably the same definition for misinformation. That's any information they don't like.
Yeah. Let me see. Might be this wee bit here. She says, 2 seconds. I'll put the speed up a bit as well, so we don't have to fucking listen to all this nonsense. There we go.
Taken sort of hate crime. I think there's a lack of trust in the system that when people make any form of reporting for hate crime, what happens? Does it get followed up? When reports thing, they say we try. A lot of people don't, unless people know that there's a areas, a lot of the people they're free from persecution. If to see there is from some form of authority, area that needs to be discussed.
Shut the fuck up. That in and of itself, again, we're always assuming they're all fleeing war and persecution. You know, that's the automatic assumption. You know, so these people, wherever they are in the world, know that they can come here and just run with that narrative because it's been provided for them. Oh, I'm fleeing war and persecution. You know, well, that's convenient. But there is a bit where they start calling for the government to get involved. I won't play all this, don't worry.
I'm interested in, and actually we've just heard a bit from in around relationships and the importance of relationship, a relational approach. I worry that race relations, which kind of takes me back to when we started discussing things around the Equality Act in 2010. It feels like quite an old statement to make, but I'm worried that race relations and what you're saying could be getting worse. And I noted Pinar's comments on people being placed in hotels rather than ordinary community situations. I've got a couple of questions about it. I've been worried about what that means, particularly in Glasgow, but also for the people who are now currently on MS Ambition. I'm worried about where they're going to go when that closes at the end of March. And have you noticed any impact on race relations in the city and across Scotland as a result of the more hostile environment, but also of the way that we've been putting people into sort of unusual accommodation circumstances, as we might call it?
Right, hold on. We need to address this. We really need to address that. Why is her head too big for her body? Why does she sound like she's sucked in a helium balloon?
Because she's a raspberry, mate. You can't take the piss because she's a raspberry.
Like mobility scooter, she's disabled. I don't know
what the fuck is she?
She's a raspberry.
Yeah.
Can't take the piss out of raspberry. It's one of those protected characteristics.
Yeah.
I certainly can't live in Scotland.
Yeah. If they don't want me to take the piss, they shouldn't be doing this crap.
Well, you're no under Hamza's hate crimes also. Right. if it doesn't come up soon, I'll just turn it off, like, because I can't fucking remember exactly what it is. But as I say, dotted throughout this 20-minute video, they keep making more and more references to these dicks in hotels and PM.
In fairness, she does
Because we work
identify
with
Stephen
welcoming people and we
Hawking.
work with people
No comment.
directly, and we have a lot of services that we provide, as Harvey mentioned, in terms of ESOL classes and other areas as well. It has a huge impact of making someone feel welcome, and it has a huge impact of someone to be part of a community. When people are placed in rural areas, especially on hotels, and as earlier Graham mentioned, there's a huge profit being made by the hotels, and we need to highlight that, and I think we cannot hide from that. The hotels that are being used are usually isolated from community and are in areas that's hard to reach. And when somebody is given £9.30 a week, how do we expect them to travel to colleges? How do we expect them to travel to communities? How do we expect them to go and see their lawyers? So they are actually disconnected from society and placed in a detention-like condition. And one of the horrifying things on Sunday in Erskine was I had a brief chat with the mayor's officer on the day, and the way that he spoke was saying we're going to flourish this area in 6-7 months. So for me, that means there's a clear indication that they actually want to keep the people in hotel accommodations longer than week spaces, and they want to keep people in there and create a hostile environment where they are disconnected from society and where they are actually creating programs of activities in the hotels. And there's a huge worry for people's safety. As I mentioned, if there's misinformation being highlighted in the news, if there are groups mentioning that these people are not welcome, who's going to protect the people in the hotel accommodations? What if something happens, is my question. We have seen what happened in Parkin incident in 2020. A life was lost, and it was the first time that a person was killed in Scotland by Police Scotland. In an island. And what if something happens? Who's going to be responsible for these actions? And we have been highlighting this since 2020. And unfortunately, as one of the things that Pam also mentioned, is people are going to be disconnected from society. And this.
I mean, what she just referenced there was that back in Bay, stabbing up a hotel because he didn't like his dinner. Whose responsibility is that? Oh, well, it must be that we have to stop the evil neo-Nazis from spreading misinformation that she's still not defined. It's the responsibility of the people like her who continuously advocate for a never-ending influx of these people and always straw-manning any dissent by assuming instantaneously that they must be fleeing war and persecution. Why else would they quote-unquote risk their life? And even that in and of itself is total bullshit, because they only need to float halfway across the channel and are picked up by our coast guards.
It just beggars belief. Yeah, it's got to be the police's fault that he died in police custody. It couldn't have been something.
You fucking start a cop and like 6 asylum seekers or quote in a hotel. So you got shot. Whose responsibility is that? Well, fucking the people that continuously advocate for them to come here. This shit wasn't happening 20 years ago. It wasn't even happening 10 years ago. And that's just become the norm. Water is fucking wet. The sky is blue. And by the way, your borders are wide open for black people pretend to be from war-torn countries.
It's fucking nuts.
Fucking treachery, that's what it is.
You can't say nuts, it's sexist.
I think the only thing we can do is make the people bringing these people here responsible for the actions of those that they bring.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I've been saying that for ages. We need an accountability contract. Like I say, we should stop allowing these demons and these traitors in power to start to use the term, they're not all bad, no, but by that very, very same supposition, some of them are. Oh. So how many are you going to allow to be bad in order to procrastinate this multi-culti lie, this diversity is our strength lie?
Here's the problem with they're not all bad. They're not all like that. They don't all stab people. See the ones that are not bad, they're immaterial, because the type of people that we are bringing here from those regions, they're going to vote in a pack. And And do you know who's going to be running those packs? The people that are bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I grew up in Northern Ireland, and we were
Mate,
told.
I thought it was Somerset with that accent.
Yeah, with that accent. Yeah, of course it was. Do you know what? Do you know what we heard? Day and daily, all through all the troubles, 1,300 bombs a year. All Catholics aren't bad. They're not all like that. They don't support the IRA. Do you know what? Do you know who they all fucking vote for? Sinn Bastard Féin.
Yeah.
Right.
Do.
Do you know?
Yeah. I don't get into Northern Irish politics because I don't understand it.
Yeah, right. Oh, fuck. Wait a minute. I was at a memorial service today for two lads that were blew up 30 years ago. Our local two Orange Lodges, 3 bands, went into town, had a service at this place, and we're on our way back through the town. People, there was a counter demonstration protest thing about 10, maybe 11 decades. Guess what they had with them? They brought the demonstrate against memorial service for 2 soldiers. Fucking Palestine flags. Right.
Palestine, Ohio, yeah?
Yep. No. Palestine, Middle East. Nothing here makes any sense. But what I will say is, I was told the ordinary decent Catholic does not support the Irish Republican Army. They don't all support terrorists. They don't want all this problems. And do you know what? The problem is they all vote Sinn Féin. So this idea that you don't need to worry about the ones that aren't doing anything bad is fucking ridiculous. DJ, I'm in Belfast. Born on the Shankill, married a Catholic, so don't give 2 fucks. Yeah, that can happen. I'm over in East Belfast. But the idea that whenever you're bringing in these groups of people, and because some of them aren't bad, that it's no use to you. The ones that aren't bad are material. They'll go like sheep with the pack with whoever they're told to vote for. They'll do whatever they're told by the pack leaders. It's a misdemeanor. The decent ones are irrelevant, and just by the size of the country and the number of people that we'll have, we don't need them here anyway. We've got too many people.
Yeah, and it's a shame because, speaking from personal experience, you won't find a nicer set of people than the folk who live in the likes of East Belfast. I've worked there, off and on.
Yeah.
Well, pre-sniffle, I used to work. Yeah. I worked there off and on quite regularly. Specifically, obviously, in East Belfast, because that's where a lot of the commercial areas are. But you're a great set of people, mate. You really are. I've never had any. I personally have never had any neither. I've always been accepted. Whether it was the same, I did go over there. I was there in the early 90s during the troubles. When I worked for Michelin, they had a big factory over in Ballymena, and I went over there once, and it wasn't any narky or anything, but it was a little bit different, shall we say? It was a slightly different. Yeah,
that's Regs's country.
Yeah, Ballymena's a lovely place. The golf course is cracking, but them
country yokels are they're a strange breed.
No, they're lovely people. I just like I say, you've got to. When I was working, because like I say, the last stint has been over the last the last few years, and I says, well, seems to be great because East Belfast, especially the city centre, was buzzing. It was great stuff. It was so vibrant. Commercial, you could say, but no, not especially. I used to love it. You know, people would say, because I used to like going, is it the, was it the famous bloody commercial street, the Duke of Duke of York, no, Duke of Wellington, in the sort of the the little red, not red light district, but it had the lights down and that.
And Cathedral Quarter.
Yeah, the Cathedral Quarter. I used to
Yeah.
enjoy my time there. Now it may be commercialised, as some people might say, but the people are great. You know, you people are just the best people in the world, you know. And in fairness, DJ, I get exactly the same. I get exactly the same buzz and warm glow when I'm visiting Liverpool, and I get exactly the same warm buzz and glow when I'm in Newcastle. You see what I mean? All sort of dock, sort of river communities. They just have this wonderful. What's the word I'm looking for? Authenticity about them. Do you understand what I mean by that? Just wonderful.
Yeah. You don't do well selling bullshit here.
No,
it doesn't work.
No, well, like I say, we used to get there, and then you say, because when I was over there, it was when old Bojo the Clown was doing his push for the 2019 election. And I said, I wouldn't vote for any of the shit stains. They're all fucking traitors. And I said, what do you get? He said, he literally said, he goes, yeah, it's a little bit different here. We don't usually talk about that kind of thing here. All right, then, fair play, fella. But like you say, old Taffy's country of Taffy's End, sorry, not DJ, Taffy's End, Liverpool, love that. I have family in Paisley. I used to love spending time in Paisley. That was in the 80s, though. And so I have spent a little bit of time in Glasgow, but looks like Glasgow's a fallen city like London now. But yeah,
Paisley's
Newcastle
that way as well, to be honest. Like, it's where my missus is from, and she's noticing a very rapid change in the demography. Like, 'cause it's just outside Glasgow, obviously. So.
Well, like I say, I was Paisley. My family was sort of Paisley, and once again, it's very strange because the 80s was a strange. I don't know. The 80s was a strange decade because it seemed to be the only decade I can remember where there's been optimism. and like I say, that might have only been in England, but there was definite sort of a sense of optimism. And I'm not sort of carrying the torch for Maggie Thatcher, but Neil Kinnock, that gingerhead twat, used to come on and used to say, boom and bust Tories, boom and bust Tories. And I'd say, yeah, but at least we got a boom once in a while, you fucking twat, unlike under you fuckers. But literally, as soon as John Major ousted Thatcher, did the shit on her, stabbed her in the back like all the other traitors. So 91 in the UK, and when did Clinton get in? Was that about, what was it? That would be 91, 92, was it, when old Clinton got in the States? Since then, once again, it doesn't matter who's in power, Labour or Tory, Democrat or Republican, you're getting the same bunch of criminals, basically. Hateful twats.
I think if Trump gets another term, he might have a better idea about how to go about it now.
Well,
if he can take his fucking mouth away from, his really bad.
Go on, say it, DJ. Go on, say it. Get the stream blown up. Get 42's channel taken down. Go on, say it. Say it. Say it.
We have weird Aussie. Well, the only thing
we know
is really good looking. But that's part and parcel with American politics. That's why, if you think British politics is a joke, just look no further than America. It's about who can give the best blowjob to Israel. I make no apology for that because it's not even conspiratorial to suggest it over there. It's so fucking obvious. Like, it's so obvious over there. Whereas here, yeah, there's like it's still kind of obvious, but there's like a sort of argument to push back. Well, no, all Jews here, eh? Well, in America,
Oi, oi,
fucking is.
DJ.
What?
Whatever you do, don't call them globalists, right?
No, I would never dream of doing something like that. Come on, here. We're speaking about facts and logic, right? Never conspiratorial malice. No. That word's banned on this channel. What did I say that was wrong there? Just
Nothing. That's what I mean. You know, you like I say, you're
just
speaking.
stand at the podium and just, like. Well, I'm not going to go any further with that.
Well, you speak truth to power, but that's an act of rebellion these days, isn't it? When you point out the obvious, it's like, shut it down. Like we saw this week, didn't we? Some fairly high-profile figures whose accounts had been rescinded by Twitter all of a sudden got redacted once again because guess what? They were getting a little bit too much traction, weren't they? Because maybe their opinions was resonating a little too greatly with the British public.
Talking about getting cancelled. Did you hear about James O'Keefe?
No.
Right. James O'Keefe has been kicked out of Project Veritas.
Oh, is that him? Yeah. I heard the story. I didn't recollect his name there, to be honest.
Right. So what happened was he brought out the undercover footage of the guy from Pfizer saying that they modify the viruses and doing all sorts of stuff. And what should have been their biggest, most popular, their biggest win ever, and their engagement was way up. And they first of all sent them on 2 weeks compulsory leave. And while he was on leave, they told him he wasn't allowed to communicate with the employees. Then they held a couple of meetings and stripped him of his post of CEO, and then they sacked him. And he asked Project Veritas what were they going to say to their supporters and their staff, and they said we don't really need to tell them. There's a whole big shit show. So Project Veritas is no more, or if it is still there, it has been taken over by people who really didn't want him doing anything that would embarrass Pfizer. And I would say it looks like he's going to be bringing up another organization. And also incoming, I'm not a clairvoyant, but he's about to get a Me Too allegation.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that last bit you caught up there for me, mate? What was that? What? Alec, an E.T. what?
A Me Too. He's about to get Me Too.
Oh, right, shit. All right, okay.
The reason that they gave for kicking him out was he spent too much in black cars, which is if you're, traveling from here to there, instead of getting Uber, you can get a
London cab, yeah.
No, this is these would be like specialized drivers where the professional driver is coming for you. They're trained in they're trained to get you out of possible abduction attempts or whatever. It's a bit more expensive, but it is safer. And O'Keefe does have a bit of a target on his back, and their complaint was he was using that instead of Ubers. And that's what they used to kick him out. They pulled a shitload of dirty stunts on him, and I would say the next one's going to be. And then he put out a video. There's a 45-minute long video. If you look it up, you'll find it. Him going through all the stuff that they did before he was fucked out, And because he's now brought that to the public, because who's surprised that fucking O'Keefe would have videoed everything? I would say the next thing that's going to happen is he's going to have a false Me Too allegation against him.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Like, one thing I didn't, I don't know if you said it and I just didn't pick it up. Why did they boot him out? Because of the leak? Like,
but here's the thing. He went up against the wrong people. This is the level that we're at. There were a couple of pro-Pfizer people that were on the board, and they are the ones that instigated his getting turfed out. Because there's some things that you just can't go against.
Money talks, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You get somebody at the top end of Pfizer that's gay and spouting off about what they do in creation of medical interventions, and even if you're James O'Keefe, and bringing in millions and millions for Project Veritas, you still get fucking houses.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just fucked up, man. I mean, a lot of the things that are getting leaked and, things that are coming out now sort of vindicate a lot of people that have been speaking out for some time. But, I mean, it kind of goes without saying at this point that there's a lot of question marks and a lot of skullduggery at play when it comes to these so-called jibby-jabbies. But even now, they're still clinging on to dear life to try and hide that fact.
There's a load of court cases coming in America. And there's also the Thai princess that's now in a coma.
Mm-hmm.
Which is going to that's going to upset some apple carts, because the Thai royal family are not going to just set up. They've banned Pfizer and all that stuff from the country.
Aye.
It was only a matter of time until they fucked up somebody really important.
Mm-hmm. It's just a pity fucking more question marks weren't going to be thrown about here at the people that pushed it on the public at large, including that bitch Nicola Phillips, who seems to just waddle off into the sunset, and described by everybody as a beautiful, bold, progressive feminist leader who did all she could for Scotland, when really all she did was shaft the country, fuck it up completely, create division across the nation, and coerce the public at large to take jib jabs, including fucking 5-year-old children. But hey ho, she promised independence 12 times and broke every one. So there's that to go.
Yeah, but we're going to have an independent inquiry.
I fucking believe that's independent. You believe Sanders got fucking. I don't believe that at all. The same way I don't even really trust freedom of information requests, to be honest, because they can quite easily tamper with that. There's no way in hell that they're going to come back and go, oh, Nicola Sturgeon, oh, Mark Drakeford, you're going to fucking jail for your participation in coercion. No, it's not happening.
Like the independent, well-qualified panelists for this inquiry are going to be brought in a nice big buggies, propelled by unicorns. That's all Scotland needs. Plenty of unicorns to drag the fucking trolleys full of free shit and impartial experts in.
I mean, even the concept I've always found peculiar. Like from day dot, they did a total 180 on like the fucking roadmap to how you would overcome a pandemic if it was to ever occur. They just threw the rule book out. There was this worldwide consensus, give or take 1 or 2 countries, where they all did things that were completely bizarre and out of the ordinary, right? And we all know there was method in the madness, but the point is they don't want you to think that. They don't want you to think that this was for your health and whatnot, right? All the shit that they did with the care homes, all the shit that they did in terms of coercion and misinformation and fucking propaganda on the TV day in, day out. You know, none of it at all at any point was humane. A lot of it quite clearly would break fucking rules and laws if there was laws to break and rules to break, right? Now we're expected to believe that these fucking cunts, all these years later, right, when they've extended these powers and made them all permanent, right, but there's question marks over whether or not they're unlawful, etc. now, partly, right? So, like, they're now going to hire totally independent, investigators to come in to determine whether or not all of their actions up until this point were illegal or not. Well, if that's the fucking case, explain to me why they've extended all their COVID powers and made them permanent. So at any point, at a click of a finger, they can implement a lockdown again. And on top of that, I'd also like an explanation as to why there's a deafening silence over the upcoming WHO. What's it fucking called? The treaty,
the pandemic treaty thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's all so unlawful, but there's some great big brained idea out there to sign a treaty that's basically the exact same thing, except we will have literally no control over it. Yeah. Oh, great going, guys. But yeah, don't worry, Bob and Pete are the fucking independent inquirers. They might be able to turn the clock back and set the record straight. I sound, and I'll grow an extra 3 inches on my cock.
Well, I'll tell you now. This is something I said to Toffee that we need to cover on the stream on Monday night on Toffee's channel, because don't be under any illusion. I 100% believe that the United States and the UK, because obviously we're the lapidog of the United States at this point, will be signing fully up to this. Yeah, but what a lot of people don't realize is that when they do sign that paper, the West will be signing up, the entire West, because they'll sign up to it. I mean, there'll be other countries, but let's just say the West, they will be signing over all sovereignty to the WHO in order to deal with pandemics. This legally, and listen to these little bits of kicker in the face, this legally gives the WHO the right to decide what a pandemic is. In other words, they could turn around tomorrow and say, climate change is a pandemic. They literally can do that. Yeah.
Here, Sansom, hold on. It was already the WHO that decided whether something was a pandemic or not, so that's nothing new.
No, but what I mean is that, like, if they determine that there's a pandemic, they determine whether or not we all go into lockdowns, etc. That effectively is eradicating all. Well, not that we have very much sovereignty left at this point, but this fucking treaty in and of itself, just this treaty alone, eradicates your sovereignty, because at the click of a finger, they determine there's a pandemic. They can just announce a pandemic, and we all go into lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. And like I say, they have the right to instigate lockdowns, have control and access over all of a nation's surveillance infrastructure and health records, mandate vaccines, seize property, land, and the means of production to ensure equity, that fucking hateful word, across all WHO nations that have signed up to it. In other words, fleece rich Western nations on the pretense of sending those ill-gotten gains to Africa and Asia, and they won't do any such thing. They'll basically pocket it for distribution amongst the unelected globalists and the wealthy asset accumulation schemes known as BlackRock and Vanguard, etc. And here's the kicker, right? This is the best of it is. The WHO expects that all nation states do as they say, up to and including the use of armed forces in order to police lockdowns and enforce vaccine mandates. Any nation state that has signed up to the treaty, but which then does not do as the WHO dictates, will be liable for sanctions from other member states. Just let that one rumble around in your little fucking nugget for a bit. Absolute totalitarian bullshit. And all of our traitors in power will sign up to that, because at the end of the day, if you get booted out of your fucking house to get something stuck in your arm against your will, Rishi Dishi Sunak can say, oh, well, that wasn't our fault. The WHO mandated it. Yeah, fuck off. That's no different to the dickhead Sturgeon saying, oh, well, we wanted to do this, but unfortunately it was Westminster's fault. Absolute, utter fucking traitors. Unbelievable.
Yeah. And you notice they never ever mentioned things like this. It was the same in the Migrant Compact all those years ago, 2018, I think it was. Not a peep. To this day, you never hear them mentioning it. It just kind of quietly gets signed, and that's exactly what's happening with this pandemic treaty as well.
Well, how many news groups outside of Fox News in the States are covering that fucking tragedy that's happening in East Palestine and Ohio? That's probably got to be one of the biggest chemical atrocities to hit the planet since Bhopal in India in the 80s. And no fuckers saying a word about it. They're telling the people, oh, it's perfectly safe, just go back to home, drink the water. You know, don't ignore the fish floating in the streams.
I seen No Chance post the Simon's Telegram the other day, but I never looked any further into it. Did a plane no fucking crash full of people that were going to investigate it as well?
Yeah.
That too, and I didn't look any further into it.
Yeah.
Well, fucking hell, give me my tinfoil hat block, like.
I'm not sure if it was a plane or a helicopter, but it was one of those things.
It was an aircraft.
Yeah.
It's a stranger thing that always seem to occur, eh?
You honestly, at this stage, you really couldn't make shit up.
That's the thing. That's all they ever do.
You don't even know what the. I've seen a bit about that train derailment, and there was a sensor went off, something derailed. They never really did get to the bottom of how all the stuff actually went on fire. Whether that was something that happened at the derailment or it was done deliberately to get rid of the chemicals. It's all a bit mad.
Basically what happened was a few miles, because unfortunately, because the regulations have changed, you're only allowed to have so many carriages on a single pull, if you like, which is what they call the term there. And even then, the regulation was, I think when you added up all of the carriages, because they're of a standard length, it was a mile. And then they said, no, we'll just do double that. But basically, which is what one of the sort of train drivers or ex-train driver was saying, is if you have a train which is literally 2 miles or 2 kilometers long, whichever one it was, I can't remember, I think it was 2 miles. He said you physically cannot see the end of that train to know if something's going on outside of your eyesight. And what they noticed was, one of the bogies on one of the carriages was in ribbons going down one of the, it was like burning up, literally.
No, that's not what the investigators said. They have audible alarms every so often. They have a system that checks the heat of the axles. And there was one had a problem with a bearing, and it went up. The bearing temperature went up. The train driver stopped the train.
Yeah.
And at that point, it seems to be the train got off the track after the train had stopped. And it all gets a bit...
The problem is you've got 2 miles worth, thousands of tons worth of goods. You can't just stop on a dime. It takes miles for those things to slow down. So they may have registered the problem at point X, but they may not have been physically able to stop until 3 miles after that, just by virtue of the way that it has to slow down. And by that time, the thing had caused a derailment. But the chemicals that they were basically what the scientists or the so-called trust the science were saying, and people have corroborated that, is that these chemicals that were in the derailed carriages, they could either explode, which means it obliterates the entire city or the town or wherever it is, like levels it, because it would be an explosion of, megatons in proportion. So they decided that wouldn't be the best option. So they thought that they would empty or try and strategically burn those chemicals. But it was
they said that people come in and vented some of the containers because they were getting internal high temperature readings. But at this point, whenever they were all starting about doing all of this, it seems to have not been on fire. But simultaneously, they're saying that a carriage of polystyrene widgets came out in the derailment on the carriage that had the hot wheel burn and started a fire which lit the chemicals. It's so disjointed you would actually think the people that were doing the investigation were lying to you, and that could never happen, right enough. They would have that all down pat, and you would definitely get exactly what happened. Obviously.
Yeah, there's something definitely not right. And to turn around and to say to the people, "Oh yeah, you're fine, just drink the water, you'll be okay," and people are sort of take that on face value. And as they literally walking down the road to go back to their homes, they're seeing fish like floating belly up in the water. And then when they get in the homes, their eyes are watering and streaming because the funk of the chemicals have stuck to the walls. It's just and he's the worst thing. He's the worst thing. Yeah, the company that was responsible, which is once again is it's basically owned by BlackRock and Vanguard. Yet again, another one of these fuckers. They said, well, we'll come in and clean your house out and we'll give you $1,000. But here, sign this no responsibility contract or this indemnity contract. Utter fucking cunts. I want them all in a class action suit and get done for billions. Fuckers.
Yep. Anybody about that area that's thinking about drinking the water might want to have a talk with people from Flint, Michigan first.
Oh Christ and all. Was that the Was that the what was it, the the Teflon thing?
Yeah, but people are fucking literal fire coming out of their water taps.
Yeah. God, tell you what.
Yeah, and that went on for years and years and years.
Well, they're still settling cases now, aren't they? Because they're procrastinating every single one. They're hoping that the people die before those cases can come to court. But sinister bastards.
No, but they knew about the problem, didn't do anything about it for many, many years. Again, it's Michigan's a Democrat state, so yeah. It's absolutely nuts. Right, now we're coming up on 3 hours and 1:30 in the morning. I'm thinking about wrapping this up.
Okay. Are you going to play us out with some music, or do you want to send some original, mate?
No, I'm going to do that. I want to be a tree one.
Yeah, do that one.
Yeah,
that one. That's great. That is. I didn't know if you'd seen it or not because I didn't know if you'd seen it because when that SMP wastrel was talking and he had his bloody suit on, I chucked in an image of Jamesy off Rabsy Nesbitt. He looked just like him.
But anyway, before we do that, is there anything either you two guys want to talk about or sum up or anything?
No, not really. I think it's once again, I tell you what, this stream, we've had a bit of mirth in there, but we've also had some dark subjects, haven't we? The old abortion thing and stuff like that. But I mean, these are the realities of life. We just try and paint paint a light on it, because not many, certainly outside of the mainstream media, they just don't want to go anywhere near these subjects. And it's, the silence is deafening, as they say.
Get the flashlight out and stick and shine on the dark corners.
Yeah.
DJ?
No. I was just having a wee look there on my YouTube channel to figure out if there was anything else that I hadn't thought to bring up, but no, not really. So, all good on this end. I have to be said. Another shitty week in Scotland. But hey ho, there's hope. There's always hope. We might have a brown man leading us soon. Yeah, so yeah, can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there you go. And obviously, a little shout out for Toffee there.
Oh, yes. Yes, because I never got this done at the start. So
yeah,
I will.
Do old Ragsy, Toffee.
Yep, right, hold on. I need to get that shut down again. Right, lads. First off, very warm welcome to anybody that came here from Scotsman Bonnie Lad's stream earlier in the evening. And for any of you that didn't do that, which is probably going to be a DJ, not DJ Resistant Lies, the other DJ that's arrived here tonight. Very big welcome to you, Sean. If you like this stuff, you're going to like what Sansom and Bonnie Lad News do earlier on Saturday, so give that a chance. Tomorrow night, Ragnar Arnspear at 7 o'clock has Horror Song. On Monday night, I believe 8 o'clock, is it, Sansom?
Rags, what, me or Toffee?
No,
Toffee's
you're
channel.
Toffee's
9 o'clock. He's doing
9
it
o'clock?
at 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's
right,
just after the DJ's bedtime, so that's why I planned it that way.
Right. Sansom Communion is going to be on with Toffee Raw on Toffee's channel at 9 o'clock. That'll be a good show. Then our usual shout out, John Davison. You'll find him at 9 o'clock every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So there you go. That's the wee shout out for the channels that we like to support and try to send people to. So there's that. And with that, I am going to get a bit of music on, and I'll put the comments up on the screen. And hold on.
Yeah, and subscribe to my OnlyFans where I showcase my feet and my dick in the bath.
And it's a great channel. Big feet, small dick.
Yeah, it's a bit cold this time of year, but it's fine. There's something quite cute about a little noodle.
Right, here we go. That's a bit dark.
Probably need to skip on to about 45 seconds, but I sent you a link with the time code on.
All right.
There you go. There. Click there. There you go.
Looking out my window, what do I see? A world full of people all look at me. Most of them got headache, there's no place to be. Few of them are happy, how can you see why? I want to be a tree. Do, 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 do. I want to be a tree. Do, 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 do. from the very beginning of history. Man's not seen the wood for the trees. Now they're all busy planning World War III. We are all invited, so can't you see why I want to be a tree? Da, 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 da. I want to be a tree. Da, 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 da. To be a tree, dun, 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 dun. I want to be a tree, dun, 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 dun. I want to be a tree, dun, 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 dun. I want to be a tree, dun, 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 dun. I want to be a tree, I want to be a tree, I want to be a tree,
Well, good night, everyone. Samson's been Samson, DJ's been DJ. You lot in the chat have been fucking amazing as always. Good night, God bless. See you all next week. I'm out of here. Bye.